Ooh, what's up, Internet? My name's Nerdy.
And I'm Caruth.
And this is the Nerdy.
The Wordy.
The Book Club. That's right. We are back with the final episode of Kushiel's Dart.
Hell yeah.
Definitely a big enough dart. We could have done a big enough book. We could have done a full book recap. We're not going to have one next week, though, because we are going to be on a much-needed vacation.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, I do wish we had a full book recap.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sorry, I have the hiccups. Was not expecting this book to be this, like, incredible. I don't know. Excuse me, sorry, this is gonna be rough.
This is gonna be hilarious. I'm overjoyed at the moment.
But we're just not here next week,
Mm-hmm.
and so there's not a whole lot that we can do, because I don't trust, like, New York hotel Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Well, and also we actually have to take a break.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be very, very transparent with the audience here for a second, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
I've been riding burnout a little bit through the holidays, and there have been a couple of reactions lately where I've been like, I feel like I should be enjoying this more, but I'm tired.
Yeah.
And so we're going to take like a week and a half off. We've pre-recorded a bunch of videos are still going to go up on the main channel and on Nerdy Daily. So, you know, One Piece, Demon Slayer, Frieren, Cowboy Bebop, Jujutsu Kaisen, all of those things will continue to go up. So we don't like completely disappear from the algorithm and YouTube forgets about us. But, I think like we are going to take a little bit of time off and not work on vacation this time for the first time ever.
Yeah, and by, not work, that's not 100% true, just because we were like, well, we'll film a little bit of, like, the shows that we're going to go see and stuff, but it's going to be very casual, and if nothing comes out of the footage, then nothing does, and it's fine, and we're going to be okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to chill a little bit. Threk on YouTube, thank you so much for 36 months as a Nerd Radiant.
Thank you.
Oh, 36 month is what?
I was like, we don't have Twitch up.
Yeah, I want to make sure the Twitch shuts up. 36 month is crazy. I cannot believe that we are going to be... I can't believe we've been doing this for 3 years.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Oh, no.
Fuck.
Are you like... Do we need to pause book club and come back in like an hour?
I don't know how long they'll last.
Yeah. The other problem is we can't do that because...
we have places to be.
Yeah, as soon as book club ends today, I am fleeing Toronto for Buffalo as fast as possible. I'm picking up editor Brandon because today's the annual I take Brandon to a Buffalo Bills playoff game as a thank you for all the hard work he does editing our channel day. So tonight at 6:30, I will be in Buffalo watching the Bills versus the Ravens.
The football.
We're off to a great start today. Hi, everyone. This is Kushiel's Dart. This is brought to you by MistyMountainGaming.com. MistyMountainGaming.com is the place you go on the internet when you need the accoutrement necessary to kill your friends at a table, but in a game.
In make-believe.
Yeah.
Make-believe kill your friends.
If you want to fake kill your friends.
Yeah.
The best way to do that is MistyMountainGaming.com. They have big ol'... We talk about the dice. We talk about the dice towers. We talk about all that stuff. They also have minis. They got some dope minis.
True.
Oh,
it's like I don't know if any of the ones here we have.
The Blue Dragon.
Oh.
This mini right here, my Blue Dragon that I've been slowly painting for a while, as I'm on my journey to become a good painter. This mini, it comes with a cool little stand that isn't on yet because I'm painting the stand and the mini separately. This is a mini from MistyMountainGaming.com, and this Blue Dragon will one day TPK Clarus and our friends.
Aww.
So if you want to have a dope mini like me, you can go to MistyMountainGaming.com, get 15% off your order by using code nerdynightly15, and you support the show by doing that.
Hell yeah.
That crazy? And if you're like, hey, Roleplay Relay seems to be on a bit of a hiatus, you're right.
You're correct. Actually.
This is going to be the biggest year ever for Roleplay Relay. We just can't tell you why yet. So chill. Chill the fuck out.
Calm down.
There's cool
Relax.
stuff coming, including, guys, Astral Dusk is coming back. It will happen this year.
Yeah.
We're not just going to leave with them walking into a dark tunnel, I promise. There was a lot of reasons why that show went on a hiatus.
Yeah.
But we are going to come... look, Astral Dust probably won't have 1,000 more episodes, but there's going to be a few more episodes so that we at least kind of finish that story before we move on to other things, including our Stormlight Archive show that I'm very excited to unveil the name of one day.
Yeah, when unless you already know it, I was like, when we decide on
I do.
it. Oh, great. I have not been notified.
Nope, and you won't for a very long time.
Great, love that for me.
Yeah.
Ours says we can do a full book recap when we're ready for book 2, so it can act as a reminder. That's kind of the plan.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah. We were originally thinking book 2 maybe in like March, but there may be reasons that's not possible.
We'll see.
But May at least right now looks like it would be good for book 2 of Kushiel's Dark, because I really do want to keep reading this series. I'm in love with this book.
We said we were going to travel less and be less busy in 2025.
False.
False.
That was false.
Lies, which is why we're taking a vacation.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the book. Clarus, we have now finished... What?
I just wanted to make sure that there was no memberships right at the very beginning, because I thought I might have opened... Great. Great.
Clarus, we have now read an entirety of a Jacqueline Carey novel, that novel being Kushiel's Dart, a book about a young woman who gets pleasure from pain. Literally.
Yeah.
And if you think that's what the book is about, kind of. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, it's not really what the book is about.
Yeah.
I am sad it's over. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I have so enjoyed this journey. I have so enjoyed a change of pace of the stuff that we've been reading, because it's all been very similar, which is also great because it's stuff that I love.
Yeah.
Like, the reason it's similar is because I like that stuff and I'm happy to read that stuff. But this was so delightfully different and refreshing.
Yeah.
And it was a surprise to me that I loved it as much as I did.
It's almost like you should give books without dragons in them more of a chance.
I only read fantasy, but, like, this was far less fantasy at the beginning than I thought it was. It turned into fantasy. I got what I wanted. But,
Do you think Fedra rides a dragon in book 2?
I would love that, honestly.
I know you would.
I would love that.
Honestly, the fact that you haven't read Fourth Wing is really surprising to me.
I just haven't had the time.
I know.
I want to. I'm going to bring it with us to Japan.
Oh, that's when you're planning on reading it?
Yeah. Because I might do, like, a baby book club video on it, right?
I was thinking of doing it in New York next week.
Oh, yeah, that works too. We literally have 2 copies of the book because my aunt has sent me 2 copies because she really wants me to read it.
Yeah. Rigger in the chat says, I was so conflicted when this came up on the poll for smut books. I really wanted you to read it, but I wouldn't call it smut. I hear you, and, like, I didn't get the, like, one-off jokey book club that I wanted out of that. But we're going to do that February 2nd with the book that I wanted to win the whole time. So, you know, sometimes I get what I want just because it's my channel. Our channel. But I am, despite that, I am so glad we read this.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely love this book.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it is incredibly rich. It is truly epic.
Yeah.
You know, like, sometimes people are like, well, Way of Kings is epic. And I'm like, it's not really. Like, it's really, like, 3 locations. And it's a lot of talking. And, like, the world building is epic, but the story of Way of Kings is actually, like, really simple. And not, like, expansive.
Yeah.
And, like, the book is long. But, like, the plot is mostly Dalinar and Sadeas are kind of bitchy towards each other, and then Sadeas betrays Dalinar, setting up another book.
And there's some magic powers.
You know what I mean? Like, that is the full motion of the book.
Yeah, sure,
There's a lot of emotional things and, like, storytelling that happens underneath that.
Yeah.
But in that, and so it's epic in, like, in what's physically in your hand more than what's on the page, I think, sometimes. This is a story that truly encapsulates a lifetime of a character, where the things that happened to her as a child are deeply foreshadowing things that happen in her future across multiple nations. With, like, she meets and fucks most of the kings and queens of Europe.
Pretty much, yeah.
And, like, it's just handled in such a beautiful and, like, tragic and painful way that I really truly loved it.
Yeah.
Like, I had the most wonderful time reading this book.
Yeah.
And I think that what Jacqueline Carey pulled off is just, it's so cool.
Yeah.
Like,
I think as well that the audiobook narrator deserves some credit for that.
Yeah.
Too. Because I really feel like I could just put this book on and listen to it all day
mm-hmm.
because of her performance and her voice. Like, it was just so... It felt like I was... I don't know. It felt like I was literally being, like, held my hand and taken through a dream sequence. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
She's very talented.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, especially because of the language, the way that she managed to, like, wrap her mouth around the words.
Yeah.
It's a weird way of phrasing it, but, like, it was a very comforting audiobook experience. And for something as dense as this to feel as
and kind of dark.
Smooth. Yeah, oh yeah, that too. But no, like I think that when I was like, oh, it's a book about like, you know, a prostitute whose power is that she derives pleasure from derives pleasure from pain. I was like, oh, this is gonna get weird, and it didn't. Like, there is sexual violence in this book, but when it is used so, like, pointedly on the theme of the novel.
Yeah.
And there's one of the things that I realized this week is that while there are moments of Phaedra facing sexual violence in this book, the scope of the novel does not pan out to just be, like, voyeuristic on the random sexual violence that's happening, particularly among the Scaldi camp.
Sure.
And the way Jacqueline Carey insinuates that is happening, but doesn't try and make that gratifying in any way.
Yeah, she doesn't really, like, zoom in on it for the sake of, like, I don't know. Yeah.
No, I think that, like, there's a lot of ways in which, you know, this is the first, on the main show, this is the first book we've read that's written by a woman. Which, we've been doing the show for 3 years, that's on us.
To be fair, we haven't read that many different authors.
Yeah.
So.
Still on us. We'll do better. And we covered Sam Magg's book at Star Wars Celebration.
Oh, so yeah.
So it's only on the main show. It's our first female author, but
right.
I think that the way in which the female perspective of Jacqueline Carey as an author portrayed elements that I have previously complained about their use in other fantasy novels really stood out to me.
Yeah.
She pulled it off in a way where, like, even when this book was incredibly dark,
mm-hmm.
Phaedra still felt like she was a very, like, a very full character filled with agency and so many dimensions and complexities to her.
Yeah.
And I genuinely, like, I fucking loved it.
Yeah, me too.
It's a masterpiece of a novel.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm enamored. Hurontario says dense and French, and I definitely feel that. If I hadn't been listening to the audiobook, there are so many words that I would have no idea how to pronounce.
Yeah.
So that is definitely, like, a sticking point, especially if you're only reading the physical book and you don't speak French. It's like, sure, man. Yeah. Whatever you say.
Well, and I do wonder if there's a part of my brain that felt comforted by that, just because, you know, I talk about how the book feels very, like, comforting.
Yeah.
And as someone who grew up speaking French and, like, took, you know, I didn't take a single class in school in English until I was 10 years old. Every single time I was in school, I was speaking French. And then I spoke English at home with my parents, which was, like, the intention of the program that I was in.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like the book felt very, like, comfortingly bilingual to me.
Sure.
Parce que je peux parler français. You know, I can drop in and out of both. And I realized if I kept speaking French, no one would know what the fuck I was talking about.
Yeah.
But, like, the French to me felt very, it just felt like my childhood in a way.
Yeah.
And so I did enjoy that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we get into where we picked up with this week?
Sure, yeah. In terms of, like, page number and plot.
I thought we were, like, 40 minutes in. We're only 14 minutes in. I thought the intro was way longer. The intro felt like it was like a 30-minute intro.
No, we basically told people that we're taking a vacation and we're going to miss you guys, but we really need it.
Yeah, we're going to go hang out with some friends. It's going to be good.
Yeah.
It's also the first vacation we've taken in a while where it wasn't like just content creators who are like, we'll go on vacation, but we'll make... Yeah. Where we're like, we're just going to go to a friend's house and like play board games.
Yeah. We're also going to be in Disney.
Yeah.
For the 5-year anniversary of when we fell in love.
When we both separately realized that we had fallen in love.
Yeah, when we were both like, oh, shit.
Yeah, the day we were in Disney and I was looking at you going, fuck, she has a boyfriend, and I am deeply, deeply in love with her. And I can never say anything.
And then you did.
Nothing, chat, world, not a goddamn thing happened until after. I know, but I don't want anyone to be like looking at dates and being like, wait a second.
We have told this story so many times.
No, I know. But no, I'm very excited to go back to the place where I realized I was in love with you, which led to us being married for almost 5 years.
All of this.
Yeah. Our 5-year anniversary is on February 12th.
Of like officially dating, yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Of the day we went to the Manhattan Room on the back of the Norwegian Bliss. Are we going to do something on February 12th? Oh, yeah, we are. We have that content day.
Yeah. We're going to be working. We'll go for dinner.
Maybe. Or we'll be tired.
Maybe. Who knows? What a life.
So where we last left off, Phaedra was like, wait, Hyacinth, no. You're going to be the master of the Straits? That makes sense, actually. That kind of works. I can come visit you, I guess.
Like, she can. Well,
Arzu, thank you for that super chat.
Arzu,
that little sticker.
So
very cute little pear. Fuck, I love pears. They just go bad so fast. Like, if you buy... Yeah. I wish pears had a longer shelf life. Not what this book club is about. I feel like the thing about Hyacinth is that he has so many friends who are, like, rich that they can go to him. I was thinking about that this week. I was like, it's not like you can't go visit.
So the weird thing that I didn't 100% understand is it seems like this is a magic island that you can't get to unless the Master of the Straits brings you there. But
he's going to be the Master of the Straits.
The Master of the Straits. So I'm like, well, yeah, he could just, if you go sailing, he could just like bring you over.
All I'm saying is that Daisy Ridley just swam across the English Channel. Not actually. But in the movie, The Woman in the Sea, Daisy Ridley played a person who swam across the English Channel. If you can swim across the English Channel, then like once a year you can take a fucking boat to Hyacinth's house and have a vacation on a beautiful island in the middle of the water.
Yeah, ideally.
Like, Hyacinth, here's the thing. It's not like Hyacinth is stuck forever in a shit, like, swamp that no one wants to go to. It's a gorgeous fucking magic island in the middle of the... Like, that's where people pay all of their life savings to go spend vacation time.
Yeah. And it also depends how long his training is going to take, right? Because, like, if the current Master of the Straits won't bring them there, then Hyacinth can't do it. And if training takes, like, 70 years...
No fucking way. The Master of the Straits is so dead inside. He just wants to be done. He is rushing. He is, like, bullet pointing every single thing Hyacinth needs to know. He's like, this is the lever for the waves. This is the lever for the wind. That's the fucking button you don't press. I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm going I'm going to hell. I'm going to go live in Hades Town with Persephone. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way that the Master of the Straits is going to draw this out 1 second longer than he has to.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll see.
I mean, probably will. I'm definitely, like, we'll book club it, because I love this book. And I will read the rest of the series. Like,
yeah.
Her prose is too beautiful for me not to want more of it injected into my veins.
Yeah, no, I'm like, fucking give me that shit. It's so good.
And so, yeah, Phaedra found out that Hyacinth is sticking around and becoming the new Master of the Straits, and then they look into a magic television set, and they get to watch snippets of the war like a Vietnam news serial.
Oh, jeez.
Whoa. I just wanted it to be narrated by the guy who does the opening of the Clone Wars episodes for Star Wars. Anakin Skywalker recently returned from the Battle of Geonosis.
Excuse me, sorry.
Phaedra Delaunay, recently returned from Alba with the crew actress Stan, rides to the Talise Delamone. Fuck, I'm mixing up all the words.
No. I totally get the vibe of it. And I dig it.
Officially, Sam says Galadriel's mirror reference. Yeah, it is actually very similar.
Oh.
Because isn't Galadriel's mirror where they see the sacking of the Shire?
Technically, yes.
But it hasn't technically happened yet.
It's what things that may come to pass.
And they all do come to pass.
Well, in the book they do.
Yeah, right, yeah.
You know, in the movie, not so much.
It's one of the stronger things that they cut for the movie. Because can you imagine what a bummer that movie would be if they came back and it was just like, we've got to do another 45 minutes getting all the hobbitses back, Mr. Frodo.
There would be like 17 more endings tacked onto that movie. Which is fine by me.
Rosie the Riveter's been kidnapped from the Shire, Mr. Frodo.
Rosie the Riveter? Is that Rosie's origin story? Rosie Cotton is like, you know what?
I built planes in World War II, Mr. Frodo.
Jesus Christ. I would watch the shit out of that. Yeah, they get to see a little montage of all the people who died. And it turns out that Ysande, the queen, is held up in a fortress that is surrounded by Scaldi. So it's not looking too good. They're kind of fucked, honestly. Voldemort is... Voldemar. If I say Voldemort, then it sounds like Voldemort, and I feel I can't do it. Voldemar Skellig is...
Do you think that Jacqueline Carey did that on purpose? Sorry. Was she like, you know what, the biggest book on the planet is Harry Potter? I'm going to throw in... My villain will also be the... I'm going to name my villain after... Because if it was a Harry Potter reference, so. In 2001, like, it would make sense.
2001, Harry Potter wasn't that big yet.
I mean, it was... Yeah, it was. Because the movie came out in 2001, right?
2001? No, I don't think so. Because 2000.
When did the first Harry Potter movie come out?
That's when the Lord of the Rings movies were coming out, and I do know that Harry Potter came out afterwards. I think it came out in like 2003, maybe.
2001. No, I'm right.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, yeah. So like
what? That says Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Yeah, it's the name of the movie in the United States.
I thought it was only the book that they changed. Weird. Doesn't matter, you know?
So, yeah, so, like...
I just assumed it was an actual name that she took.
And, like, obviously, like, Harry Potter had been around for a few years before that.
Yeah.
Especially, like, in, like, British, or, you know, Canada, because we're, you know, offshoots of Britain. You know, culturally, in a way, we do... You know, because I remember one of the things... not important. Anyway, I wonder if it's a reference. I was like, going to go down a story about my grandmother and Harry Potter and a whole...
That's what book club is tangents.
Well, my Nana bought me the first 2 Harry Potter books.
Yeah.
Like, before they were out in the States. And my second birthday, I went to, like, a signing for Chamber of Secrets.
When you were 2?
No, for the second book.
Oh,
when I was...
You said your second birthday, and I was like, damn.
When I was, like, 8?
Yeah, okay, that makes more sense.
Before the books were huge, I remember it. It was like this small. There was like 70 people there. It was like a small thing because they hadn't blown up yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. My Nana would always buy me these like British fantasy books because she always wanted me to know like British authors. And so I found out about J.K. Rowling because my grandmother was obsessed with anything that was like friendly to kids coming out of Britain at the time.
Yeah.
And she used to read them to me at night. Anyway, that's not important. What is important is that Phaedra. That was a story about my grandmother. Phaedra goes to Hyacinth and is like, hey, let's have sex. That's the kind of transition you only get at the Nerdy Wordy Book Club, you guys.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Phaedra goes to the like master of the Straits people and is like, hey, I need your finest seduction attire.
My God. Bring your finest silks from the bottom of the ocean.
They have the finest seduction attire known to the middle of the English Channel, ready, and it fits her perfectly. And if that's not magic, I don't know what is.
They may have had a tailor on staff, you know.
I don't know. It sounds like she's like, bring me something to wear, and they do, and she's like, fuck, this is hot. It's perfect. Let's go.
Great. Love that.
I don't believe that Phaedra is like a normal size. You know what I mean?
A normal size.
She's an angel of sex. I feel like all of the fucking Night Court people have big titties, low waist, fat ass.
See, that's fascinating. Because that's like the, 2012 and later version of beauty. When this was written, that was not in fashion.
See, I agree with that, but in my head, I'm like, these people all are like, I picture like the Albans and like the Scaldi as like normal people, and then I picture the angel people, the Terdalangians, as like fucking anime characters.
I mean,
the way that everyone responds to them when they walk, like the way that Scaldi are like, that dirty boy. That dirty boy is so hot.
I just thought they were all like very like pretty.
Yeah, I get that. I don't know. In my head, I'm like, oh, they're fucking like Nami and Nico Robin from fucking One Piece.
No, their sizes don't change like that.
They are consistent. Yeah. They're consistent to the shots of Nami and Nico Robin when they're being obliquely sexualized.
Yeah, like if I were to guess, like Phaedra's probably like, you know, a D cup.
Yeah.
Tone like slimmer body because it was the writing this in the 90s into the early 2000s, like long legs, like that's kind of what I imagine. I don't imagine like BBL Phaedra, you know.
No, not BBL. I mean like naturally. Like I think she's got like, it's like toned. Have you ever seen a gymnast's ass?
Yeah, I don't think she would be like that muscular.
I'm just saying, all she studied was gymnastics, enough that she was able to climb a cat.
All she studied was gymnastics.
The only physical art we hear her talk about in this book is gymnastics. I have dated gymnasts. Their glutes, their glutes do things that a Kardashian pays for an implant to emulate. Is all I'm saying.
Sure, yeah.
Or used to. Obviously, all the Kardashians have had their asses taken out, but
crazy.
I love
what a world we live in.
What a weird thing. So she's like, Hyacinth, let's take that sweet road to Pleasure Town. And he's like, I don't know, man. And she's like, do you really want to remember me fucking me in a field?
Yeah, when you were sad.
Or do you want to remember
you're still gonna be sad.
All of this? And he's like, yeah, okay. And so they bone down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She gives him a night to remember as a goodbye gift. I don't know when the fuck I'm gonna see you again. Have fun being an immortal god of the sea.
This book is so
I'm not wrong.
crazy.
It's just crazy that I can say that.
No, but it's so true. Phaedra learned the farewell gift move from fucking Madeline. No,
farewell
Melise.
gift.
Melisande?
Melisande? Oh, it's like...
yeah, because Melisande gave Phaedra as a farewell gift to Boudoir.
Right.
And now she's giving herself as a farewell gift to Hyacinth.
Yeah. We'll go with that. Scafandi, thank you. Welcome back to the Nerds Radiant. It was certainly a gift.
Yeah. They have goodbye sex. And then the next day, they get on a boat, and they're like, where are all of our people? And the Stormlord is like, oh, they're over there.
Actually, I got it. And he literally just, like, boops them away, and all of the people are, like, there together, clinging to, like, their rafts and their ships, and, like, just kind of, like, hoping for the best. A few of them died.
Yep.
But definitely not as many as we thought. Lost a few horses. But most of the people are there.
Yeah.
So Justin is pretty happy. Arizu, thank you for 5
Thank you for 5 gift members. Did we say Scaffandy's been here for a full year?
A year? Scaffandy.
Thank you,
my God, you're getting old.
Arizu, thank you for 5 gift members. So we find our people. They're mostly fine. And so they're like, all right, let's go to war. The following part of this book is a lot of, and then we went here, and then we went here, and then we went here. And it's mostly they ride towards this embattled keep where the siege is being held on Isandra and the many good people. We find out that some of the good people being held there are the father and brother of our good boy Valencia.
I'm sorry, what?
2 of the people
who
are being sieged are what's oh my god, I can't think of a single name today.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know who Valencia is.
Jocelyn Verai.
Oh, we don't find that out. We don't find that out until they actually get into the castle. Jocelyn is worried about them. He's like, I haven't heard from them. Like,
No, he thinks that they would be there.
He thinks, like, maybe.
And wait, no.
No, I don't think that this has been, like, a point yet. It's kind of like, this is the part of the world that they live in, but I don't think, like, he thinks that they're held up in the keep. They could kind of be... They could be dead already.
Yeah, they could be dead already.
They could be a number of different places. So that's why I think it's more of a, like, surprise when they are actually there. Talk about it being likely. Okay,
yeah.
okay,
like, he talks about it and, yeah, he talks about, like, wanting to check in. And then when they get there, he asks about them immediately. Like, it's not like he gets there and someone's like, oh, Verai? Are you Verai's boy? He's over there. Like, he's like, hey, has anyone seen my dad?
Yeah.
They get through the gates, and he's like, I know she's got no skin on her back, literally. But, has anyone seen my dad? Is my brother here?
Yeah, but we don't find out that they're here until until much later.
But it comes up. It's in the idea of them being here is introduced.
Yeah.
And we get to we get to this decision, which is how are we going to actually help the situation at the keep?
What can we do? Because they have 30,000 men and we have 4.
We got some Albans, we got some blue boys, but all the blue boys and all the blue men aren't gonna put Pterodons back together again.
Yeah.
And so officially Sam is like, I need you guys to do this in the right order. So I'm just gonna read their comment. First they go to northern France, meet up with Ghislaine de Somerville, and the Trevelyan's. Then Fedred gets who is
the son of the oh my god, what's his official title? Like,
dude, I don't know.
He's the battle strategist.
Yeah.
That's that same thing.
So the decision in figuring out how to help is recommended to the group. Mm-hmm. To much disdain.
Thank you.
The Fedred's like, what if we just like asked Isidore d'Eglamore if he wanted to help?
Well, no. So first what they do is they're like, we need to we're going to bait. Oh, I'm so sorry that there's a Twitch that should not be active.
It hasn't been in the last few book clubs, so I don't know why it is.
I don't know why Streamlance is suddenly like, hey, Twitch, you need to know these people.
Go on with your point.
They're not even the right... Anyways, doesn't matter. So what happens is they decide to harry the Scaldi forces and cause a distraction. Mm-hmm. Ghislaine? Somerville. Somerville Jr.
Ghislaine, technically.
Ghislaine, yes.
Not Ghislaine. Ghislaine.
Yep.
I forget that, like, sometimes pronouncing things in other languages is weird. If like, because what you're saying, you are repeating the sound. But your mouth doesn't know how to do it.
No.
And it's such an interesting thing about language, because you think, like, we're all humans and you can learn other languages, so your mouth should be able to just make those sounds. But if you've never made those sounds, they're just slightly wrong.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating. And this isn't me coming for you at all, because this is all humans. But like, yeah, like I grew up having to make those sounds, for French sounds, with my mouth.
Yeah.
And so, like, naturally I understand how to do it. Mm-hmm. And you're like, Ghislaine, and I'm like, oh no, it's right. You're not wrong, right? Like, that is technically what it is, but the I is like, yeah, weird. And French Italian has zero connection to pronunciation. That's not true.
It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm with Threat.
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Like, I read that word as Ghislaine.
Ghislaine.
Where's the S? Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to think of a time in the French language where S consonant, you pronounce the S. It's not a lot.
I don't know.
At the beginning of a word, you would.
Okay.
Ghislaine. Yeah, no, Ghislaine.
Sure.
Very.
Then why not have why have the S there?
Like, people were like, when people were like, Jocelyn's last name is crazy. And then I saw that it was vereuil. I was like, what do you mean? That's a totally normal word in French.
Yeah, it's vereuil. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, vereuil.
Not weird at all.
Vereuil. Reuil. Reuil.
Sure.
Vereuil.
Ri.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's R-R-E-U-I-L.
Very. Yeah. V-E-R-Y.
Reuil.
Ri.
Reuil.
Rui.
That's closer.
Rui. Rui.
It's not good, but it's closer. Vereuil.
Nailed it. I speak French now.
Jocelyn Vereuil. Il est un bon petit fils.
I think Baudouin is the most aggressively French name.
Baudouin?
Agree. Yeah. Because I didn't read the name until like much further into the book, and I saw it and I was like, who the fuck is that?
I don't know. Isandre de la Cossay is pretty damn French.
Ysandra. Yeah.
Isandre.
Yeah.
Re. Isandre.
Ysandra. Yeah.
Nope. Re. Not re.
R.
Re.
R.
Isandre de la Cossay.
Ysandra.
Corsel? Is it Corsel? Ah, whatever.
De la Corsa. Yeah. This is great.
This is great
top
content.
tier content.
So, okay, yeah. So they get Ghislaine.
They try and harry the Scaldi, right? And so what they do is they set up this really elaborate escape route to kind of test the forces and make a dent. And kind of like... They basically are like, we're going to try this, and we're not 100% sure how it's going to go. So they attack the Scaldi and run away. They're able to, like, kill, like, a good handful.
It's a dope plan, though.
Yeah. And they have a really
have, like,
great escape
checkpoints.
plan. Yes. So they draw the forces away. They try and, like, separate them.
Yeah.
But the Scaldi, like, chase them for I think, longer than anticipated. Because they do get to, like, the final, like, trap. Where, they run them through, like, places with hidden crossbows and stuff like that. Until finally they just drop rocks on these motherfuckers. But they realize that that's not sustainable.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that they run into the traitor himself, Isidore d'Aiglemont. Who is, like, chilling in a valley with him and his, like, dishonored soldiers.
Because everybody knows what a little piece of shit he was. And so
so, like, what the fuck are we gonna do about this guy?
They wave the white flag. Not of surrender, but of, like, parley.
Fedra's like, I have an idea, and this is crazy. And Gilbert is like, yeah, this is fucking crazy. But you know what? Let's do it.
Oh, chat, I have a question. Threk just said Kilbahar.
Yeah.
Does this book ever explain where the name Kilbahar came from? Because I'm really...
Came from?
Yeah, like, why do they call him Kilbahar?
I think the Scaldi gave him, like, a code name. If they were like, Isidore, like... It,
oh, yeah, okay.
That's a little suspicious, right?
Is it Silverhair? Okay.
Yeah, it's just kind of like his code name.
But it does mean something.
Yeah, there you go.
I did not know that Kilbahar meant Silverhair.
He is basically Thranduil.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so they go to Isidore, and they're like, hey.
You can choose how you die.
Here's the deal, buddy. You're kind of fucked. So, on the one hand, Isandra wants to kill you.
Yeah.
Because she knows that you paid the Scaldi to raid their villages.
Yeah. On the other hand, Voldemort wants to kill you.
Well, it's not so much that Voldemort wants to kill him. That's not what scares him. What scares him...
On the third hand...
what scares him is he's like, well, no, but Voldemort and I are good. And Fedra's like, well... Have you ever heard of Melisande Charizard?
And he's like... Motherfucker.
She has been working Voldemort behind your back. And I'm so sorry to tell you this, but she also wants you dead.
Yeah.
So, pretty soon you're going to be dead.
Yeah. You're going to die no matter what.
How do you feel?
You get to pick.
We got an opportunity for you.
Yeah.
You could die rad. It could be pretty sick. You could ride into battle, and he's like, say less. Hey, Carceline boy, how good is this Voldemort Selig? And Jocelyn's like,
he's pretty damn good. Pretty good. He took me out.
He's pretty damn good. And he's like, I'm gonna be better.
Yeah.
I was my favorite. I was like, when he was like, I guess I'm gonna have to be better. I was like, fucking sick.
I'm in. Sold.
You're a little betray boy, but like I actually love Isidore Deglamore.
Yeah.
I'm like so on his side.
He's a rad character.
In his death.
Yeah, I'm not on his side before he. Like,
I didn't want him to
them.
become king, but like him being like, I tried, I failed. I'm gonna go out like a goddamn champion.
The effort was there.
Yeah, I can respect that. Look, I love a guy who's like,
I lost.
Let's do the dopest shit ever now.
But also, it's one of those human failings in a way, or I guess failing is subjective, depending on how you look at it. But it's this human like need to be remembered a certain way, and he's either going to be recorded as a traitor to the realm who died in dishonor, or the hero who took out Voldemort Skellig and saved Ysandra so that she could be queen. Right.
Well, and I think that what's interesting, and the book frames Ysandra's succession in a certain way because of Delaunay's oath to Roland. But the reality is that without the marriage to the Cruarch d'Alba going the way that it did, where they saved the realm and the people have so much love for Dristan when they get married, the idea that she was going to marry him before the events of Isidore, it would have been a rough succession. And what's so fascinating is that Isidore was trying to take over for a monarchy that was in decline.
Yeah.
And a lot of people thought Ysandra wasn't the right person to be the next leader of this nation. In betraying her to try and be the king himself, he actually gave her the necessary sequence of events to install her on the throne with her desired love as her husband, with the backing of the people, so that no one could question her coronation. Like, weirdly, if he hadn't done what he had done, and none of this had happened, she would have taken the throne with less power, because people would have questioned the union and would have questioned her being queen. Yeah. But because of the way he tried to betray her, Isidore is sort of responsible not for her throne, but for the strength behind her throne. Yeah. At the time of her coronation.
And the alliance between the two countries, right? Like, I think that marrying a foreign prince feels far different than marrying the foreign prince who rode in to save you when the odds were not in his favor.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, they are viewed very differently, and people love a love story.
Well, and, I know that in modern times we are so... We're still failing in a lot of ways, but we're trying to do better by people who have disabilities, right? Right. We are doing a lot of really good work in modern times to acknowledge the people who have disabilities and not make it so that we view them as less for that. Yeah. But this is not modern times. His clubfoot is viewed as such a negative thing. Yeah. Right? He's viewed as a cripple who cannot be king of... like, that is the way he's viewed. And so him having this opportunity to lead the charge into battle, I think changes that. Yeah. The way people view him. If he had just been installed as king, and through marriage, I think that people would have been like, I don't know, man. Like, can he lead us? Instead, the people of Terre d'Ange are shown he can. Yeah. And so, like, Isidore really, like, sets up the perfect storm of Ysandra and Dristan getting to be powerful, in-charge people. Yeah. By giving them an opportunity to show the power of their leadership. Yeah. And I in a weird way, if his goal was genuinely for the strength of Terre d'Ange to be stronger and to be remembered as a legend, he gets that. Isidore gets everything he wanted. A strong Terre d'Ange with a leadership that is not a monarchy in decline. Yeah. And he is going to be remembered in song and ballad as the fucking hero who took 17 wounds taking down Voldemort Selig.
Yeah.
Like, he probably wanted to live a little bit longer.
Probably, yeah.
But his legacy is secure. You know what I mean?
Yeah, in a like weird, like, ass backwards way. Yeah, he did get kind of what he wanted.
Officially, Sam says all the nobles are still giving Dristan side-eye even after saving their asses. They're giving him side-eye, but they can't speak against him. Whereas they would have been able to speak against him.
Yeah, and also Arzu brings up that, like, the common people love him, and that is, I think, a severely underestimated power.
Look at the French.
They are French.
I know, but, like, having the love of the common people is really important in France, you guys. Yeah. I don't know if you know history. The French common people can be real cut your head off about things.
Threk also makes a point that, like, some of the nobles now have, like, an unwavering trust there because they fought together.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, the circumstances of the union of these two countries does make it that much stronger.
Yeah.
And perhaps in a way that we might see in a future book, like, perhaps more volatile.
Yeah.
But at least we know that that Dristan does have allies here.
Yeah.
Apart from Ysandra.
I really love this point by Arzu about Isidore, which is the world gave him what he wanted in the exact way he didn't want it.
Yeah.
And it is the beauty of this novel, right? Like the way in which these characters, their goals are so clear. Even though so much of this book is obfuscated in, like, spycraft and intrigue and mystery and, like, this political battle. And Melisande Charizai's incredibly thought out political battle, right?
Yeah.
The way she builds allies is I was excited for her death scene that we didn't get. But her coming back to continue to be a villain in this series, and we'll talk about that at the end. But like, she's so good as a villain.
Yeah.
But yeah, Isidore really surprised me here. I didn't expect to think of him as much of a character as he very quickly became in a very short amount of time on page.
Yeah, we didn't get to spend much time with him, but I think that it is one of Jacqueline Carey's strengths is building up characters very quickly, like giving them life without much, like, screen time.
Well, and her prose does so much of that work, right?
Yeah.
Like, she describes things so... Her allusions and her allegories are so rich that it's easy to paint these characters in these broad, three-dimensional strokes very fast.
Yeah.
Because it's not very direct language. It's very metaphorical. And the way in which she, like, eulogizes Isidore, even while he's still alive, weirdly, is partially the Phaedra writing this from the perspective of having survived it and looking back on it definitely helps, because she remembers everyone a little bit more fondly than maybe they deserve in the moment, because she knows how Isidore went out.
Yeah.
And so I do think there are elements of this book where her future knowledge changes the way the present is portrayed to us, and I find that very interesting.
Yeah.
But just really great language to allow us to feel like we're inhabiting these characters very fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's brilliantly done. I was very curious what Melisande's chosen way of dying would be, but they never brought it up.
Well, because they don't get to it.
No, I know, but, like, she's gonna have to pick beforehand, right? And then she escapes, but they just never mentioned, like, what she, like, chose.
I think she would have picked that morning, so I think she has the night to think about it.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I don't think they're like, tell us, you have to tell us now and then think about it all night. That seems cruel.
Maybe.
Her choice was actual no. Actually, no.
Nah.
And good. So we get to the field of battle, and Phaedra realizes that the people inside the keep might see Isidore's banner and not respond in a way that helps both armies. Everyone else is like, fingers crossed, we'll hope for the best. We'll hope they realize that the Black Boar of the Crocodile is here, and so they'll make good choices. And Fedra's like, well, I'm not going to risk that. So
Yeah, she's like, oh, wait, every moment thousands die? Fuck. All right, well, let's not do that then.
Yeah. That like every minute that they don't send a force out to do the pincer is going to be a moment of longer death.
Yeah. It's more
I'm good with
life
words
lost.
today. And so Fedra
We are not Jacqueline Carey.
waits
It's
until her protector Jocelyn is in a deep slumber, and she sneaks out.
Mm-hmm.
A deep, yeah.
He's like,
wakes up.
I felt something, and I woke up. I don't know what it was.
And she goes to Isidore, and she's like, hey, I need to sneak over to the castle, and I'm the only one who can. I need to tell them that you're not the worst person ever. And he's like, why me?
Yeah,
and she's like,
why the fuck are you here?
because you're, because I think you're a good guy, but you're also not like a great guy, and I think that you won't try and stop me, and you'll help me do this. And he's like, I mean, you're right.
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
You're trying to save lives? All right, fine. I can get behind that.
And so Isidore helps her get past the guards, and they do the typical, like, I'm your commanding officer, guard. Why pay attention this way? While Fedra behind is like, and she sneaks off into the night, and she dresses herself like a slave again, so that she can sneak through. And we see that, unfortunately...
We know that there's a lot of Dangeline women who are captured there and are being used for, like, the spoils of war, we can put it.
Well, and they're specifically... So the region of Terdange that they're in right now is Nama. And so these are specifically, like, these are Fedra's people.
Yeah,
Like, these are and we see...
Nama's priests.
The incredible... yeah, Mimunk is also... She also goes to Isidore, like, I'm the only one who won't speak under torture, because I will be having a great fucking time.
I don't know about a great time.
I will be fucking loving it.
But it's gonna be different.
Well, she doesn't expect him to skin her.
Sure.
She's like, oh yeah, if they whip me... Guys, I go to the temple to get whipped to, like, feel better.
Yeah. That is fair. I definitely don't think she was expecting that. So she sneaks in. She does have a moment with one of the priests of Nama who, like, they make eye contact and they kind of have a moment, and she lets her, like, sneak off.
Well, this guard, one of the guys notices her.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, come to my bed. And the priest of Nama's like, excuse me. Am I not enough for you?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh,
Wait, never mind. Yeah.
And so Fedra manages to walk through the 30,000 people sleeping and fucking.
Yeah.
And she gets all the way to the wall, and she starts to climb, and she gets up a little bit, and then she's not gonna climb the whole fucking wall, and so she starts shouting, and she's like, hey, tell the queen that Delaunay's second pupil did a great fucking job.
I nailed it. I crushed it.
So naturally, the Scaldi find her, and they come grab her. They pull her down.
Yeah,
and
I love that they try and translate. Like the people who heard her yell, try and emulate the sounds that she makes without understanding the words that she says, so that Voldemort can, like, kind of maybe interpret from that.
Yeah. Well, and then they pull over the priest of Nama, and the priest of Nama, who knows that it's fucking meaningless, is just like, this is what she said.
Yeah.
And then they're like, fuck.
Yep.
Ah, damn it. That doesn't mean anything, does. So Voldemort comes over, and interestingly, Fedra calls him Lord Voldemort, or Lord Selig.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, she calls most people, like, my lord, that she's, like, that she has used her services on.
Oh, 100%. I find her... One of the things I love about Fedra, I think she's an incredible character. Mm-hmm. Like, truly, like, one of my all-time favorite protagonists. Yeah. She's so many things.
Yeah.
And she is so strong in her own way without having to be, like, good at like, she's bad at a lot of things. We never see her be good at fighting in this, and I love that.
She's terrible at sewing.
Yeah. I think that Jacqueline... I think that one of the reasons why she's such an incredible character is that she has flaws. Mm-hmm. Her brain isn't one, right? But her defiance... A lot of people would write the defiant character getting caught here as not using his title because she doesn't want to, like, give that to him, right?
Sure, yeah.
But there's something about Fedra going, Lord Selig in that her defiance of him is not disrespectful. And I find it so fascinating, and I think that part of the reason why she wins is because she doesn't ever disrespect anyone.
Mm-hmm.
She treats her allies and her villains equally, and she beats her villains.
Yeah.
But she treats them with respect. And there's a humility in that, right? There's a true like humility in being able to entreat with someone that you hate.
Yeah.
And still show them respect that allows you to not get cocky, that allows you to not get complacent in assuming victory.
Yeah.
And I think that it's this incredible character trait of hers that is consistent through the entirety of the book, right?
Yeah.
And it's such a small thing of her just saying Lord Selig instead of Voldemort or Selig or, something disrespectful.
Yeah.
That is so indicative of everything we've seen about this character.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Jacqueline Carey knows her character so well. Like I feel like her understanding of these humans is so broad.
Yeah.
And this was one of those great moments where she was being defiant in this personal way that I don't know that I've ever read a character like her before.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very easy, I think, especially when people write young female protagonists,
Mm-hmm.
to have that like almost like quippy kind of like fuck you attitude.
Yeah.
And that fuck you attitude is what makes them strong, which is, I think, fun sometimes. Like I just have noticed it being more of a trend than it being used as actual like character traits and character development. So I think that's part of the reason why Phaedra feels so real and so well thought out. Because it doesn't feel like what are all the boxes I have to check off for my strong woman lead,
Oh, well, and one of the things, to get into the trend of it, one of the things I find so fascinating post-Hunger Games is how many Katniss Everdeen types we get now.
Yeah.
But they always, none of them understand what makes Katniss an interesting character because they always make her quippy and strong, and Katniss wasn't.
No.
And like
she fucking
Katniss is
floundered her way through that book in a way that I really enjoyed that first book.
I like all the books. I think the like games of the third book are a little rough.
The last, I don't know. I didn't love the last one.
I like the character work in the third book. I don't like the like physical events.
Okay.
I think that her needing to make it the games again was the weakness of the third book, and I wish they dropped that. But the thing about Katniss was that she was charming to people in a society where she gets to the capital, she was charming to them because she was genuine in a way no one in their lives is.
Yeah, they didn't understand what that was.
But authors go, well, Katniss Everdeen was strong and funny, so I'm gonna make a strong and funny woman. And the like Katniss Everdeen alikes in the like the like that YA fantasy post Katniss era were all the same person, but none of them had anything genuine, which is what made Katniss amazing. And it was just a weird, people getting the wrong lesson from those books.
Yeah, even the moments where Katniss is like defiant, it's never like in a weird like jokey undercutty way. It's her like shooting an arrow close to these people because she feels like she's being disrespected.
Yeah.
She's not like, well, fuck you and your time, blah, blah, blah. Like it's never, it's never that. It's a, hey.
But the point that I'm making, and in comparing those two female characters, right?
Yeah.
Katniss and Phaedra, is they're so different. But what makes them interesting is they are both very genuine people. Yeah. And I think that the work done in... I think the lesson of like Katniss or Phaedra or these main characters who really carry these things so well is to, and this is something I want to take into my own writing, right? Is to create these characters from a place of vulnerability and truth and not from trope. Because this book has no tropes in it. Like, I can't name a goddamn trope. Like there's some broad ones, like there's the like warrior who's got vows that he eventually breaks. But like to say that Jocelyn is a tropey character would be kind of crazy to me. He's so three-dimensional. Yeah. He's not limited to that.
Sure, yeah. Like, yeah, there are definitely tropes that are injected in a way that, but they're like the very base
But
level.
they're light
And
touches.
there's just so many layers on top of
Yeah.
that yeah, it definitely doesn't feel tropey in that way.
No. Yeah. God, it's masterful. I genuinely think this book's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And this was her first published novel. Like, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
It's so damn good.
Mm-hmm. Young girl rises from being unwanted by her parents to save the kingdom is a classic fantasy trope. Yeah. But again, the layers on top of that make the like baseline of the trope so distant that it definitely doesn't feel like it's tropey.
Yeah, and like that's kind of a trope, but that's not really what
Or Threx says
the book is about. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like,
kind of.
Yeah.
But it's not that cut and dry. Threx says he's a complex character who has a couple qualities that line up with tropes.
But that's going to be everybody, right?
Exactly,
like,
yeah.
I think that what's important about the trope discussion, because every single story has been told. We all know this, right? I think that what's important is the character a trope or are they a character who you could like be like, this trope is a part of them, but like sometimes you can describe a character by being like, they're this trope and they don't, there's nothing else.
Yeah.
And this is, to me, this is more about like, there are tropes that are going to be a part of everything, right? You just can't get away from it because Shvedra's not the only person who saved a kingdom by fucking other kings. Like that's happened in stories before. But that isn't all that she is.
Yeah.
And that's what is missing from some books, is these characters need to be more than just one thing. And Phaedra is, and granted it's because it's her whole life, but like Phaedra is so many things.
Yeah.
But she gets caught. Voldemort Selig, she has this great Lord Selig moment. I loved it. And he is like, tell me. And she's like, I'm not going to fucking do that. And so he like cracks her across the face. I think twice. And she's like, that was hot. Please, daddy. Hit me, baby, one more time.
Jesus Christ.
And like, I'm joking about it, but I'm only able to joke about it because genuinely Phaedra's like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Do better.
And he knows.
Oh, he knows real quick. And so they clear a spot in front of the wall just outside of Archer's range because Voldemort Selig knows how to mentally fuck with his enemies.
Well, he does give her the option. He says, you can tell me and I will kill you quickly, or we can do this the hard way.
And yeah, I will choose the other way, Lord Selig. Phaedra Delaunay is a fucking
my
badass.
Queen of our hearts.
And so they drag her and they take off her cloak, and Voldemort Selig starts skinning her alive, which is like the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
And we reacted to this, and when Arzu made us react to this, I genuinely was like, are we about to like react to the darkest chapter ever? The chapter gets so fucking good.
Yeah.
So like, it's not all skinning her alive.
Yeah.
And that is important.
It was fucked though. Holy shit.
But it isn't that fucked.
Just
flaying.
Just
because later this day, she's like still on the wall being like, we're going to war! Yeah. Like, Phaedra's super healing is so good that she gets skinned alive and then, like, walks around all day. She's missing the skin on her back.
It's not missing. They sew it back into place.
Some of it, but he takes some strips off of her.
No. He just, like, peels it down her back. I don't think she actually lost...
Oh, I thought she lost a couple of chunks, but... Phaedra Delaunay is stronger than I am because I like stub my toe kind of bad, and I'm like, I'm done. I'm going to bed.
That's it. My day is ruined.
It's 3 p.m. I'm going to sleep. My toe hurts. I'm done. Phaedra Delaunay got skinned alive and was like, I'm walking to myself to my room. Thank you. Don't fucking. They do carry her, but she's like, I will. And you think this is gonna go on for a while because who could save her?
Well,
there's no one in this book who could possibly intervene randomly anytime she's in danger. They have not established that at all.
Guess who shows up? Guess who's back? Back again. It's Valencia.
Leroy's back. Sorry, Valencia is the chairs we're currently sitting in. If you want to get yourself some Valencia home theater seating chairs, check out their website. through the link in any of our videos, because if you buy a chair through that link, we get money.
Hell
That's
yeah.
how affiliates work.
Love that for us.
But also, like, if you don't, that's fine. I'm just telling you right now, these chairs, I live in this chair.
They're great. Jocelyn shows up and is like...
Wait, he does?
Yeah.
That's crazy. He was asleep 2 hours away.
Well, he had a tingle. His
Fedra tingle?
Yeah, his spidey senses were tingling, and he woke up, and he knew, and he followed her here.
Yeah.
Which, like, yeah. I mean, yeah. If you've known Fedra at all, like, if you have gotten to know her at all over this journey, yeah, it makes sense.
But also, like, this is one of those things that feels like it could be just a convenience. But this is, again, why Jacqueline Carey is such a good writer. Jocelyn knows... He's the only person that I would have accepted this from.
Yeah.
Because we have seen him learn how to sneak around Voldemort Selig's camp earlier in the book. Yeah. This is pain. Again, like, every time this book feels like there's something like a convenience, or it is... Well, but of course he knows how to get through. He's already done it. Yeah. Right? And the first time he did it out of necessity, and this is also out of necessity, but, like... It also helps that the camp is distracted because this woman has been caught.
Yeah, they're all watching Fedra get skinned alive.
But, like, again, like, Jocelyn is like, oh, yeah, no, I know how to sneak around these people. Yeah. I lived among them for months. I know how they think. I know how to dress like them. And so when he showed up, I wasn't like, oh, that's a Deus Ex Machina. I was like, oh, fucking of course.
Yeah, of course it makes sense.
He studied them. Yeah. And it's... I think that I brag on Deus Ex Machinas and I rag on convenience a lot in stories when I think it's cheap. And when I think it just is like, it doesn't really make sense for them to pull it off. Yeah. Because, like, well, how did he get through? Yeah. But here, and Threx says he speaks their language. Like, this is how you do that. You have a character go through an experience that we see them go through. Yeah. So that they have the ability to do the thing that they do. Yeah. And it's how, God, she's so fucking good at writing. It's how you want these things to go. Is that I didn't expect him to show up, right? I knew she wasn't going to die because there was, 80 pages left. But yeah, I didn't expect Jocelyn to show up. But when he did, my brain didn't go, okay, whatever. My brain went, oh, right. Yeah. The one guy who speaks Scaldi knows how to dress like them, knows how to, be among like them. Yeah. Of course he's the one that snuck through. And the fact that we see him challenge the fucking guy to a home gang. Yeah. He knows exactly... He knows their culture. How to go about this in a way that Selig can't refuse. Yeah. Right? Because if Jocelyn had showed up and challenged him to some kind of, like, Dongeline duel or whatever, like... Selig does not have to respect that, but he does have to respect his own culture. Yeah. If he wants to lead these people. Well, especially because, like, these people know Jocelyn. A lot of them have seen him fight in the home gang before. Well, actually, I don't know how many would have actually seen him fight in the home gang, because that was Gunther's people. It was Gunther's people, but they do know that Jocelyn has killed the, like, White Wolf guys. And he's been shown respect by Voldemort Selig in the past. Yeah. Even if he fled, right? Yeah. And so I think that I think that there's enough respect that Voldemort Selig has shown Jocelyn in the past that he is really in a corner in terms of having to take up this offer this challenge. But Selig has also taken down Jocelyn once, and so probably feels fairly confident. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Memonk says, I want to read Castiel's Servant. It's a retelling of this book from Jocelyn's perspective. Oh, interesting. I'm not really sure I need that, but... That one came out, like, 2 years ago, didn't it? Like a year ago? Oh, interesting. It's like, it's like its own separate thing that came out very recently. I'm not a huge fan of the same book from a different perspective. You didn't like Edward's perspective on Twilight? Haven't read it, and you haven't? It was interesting. Think I will? Like, I've read the book. Yeah. I know what Jocelyn does. And I know why he does it. Here's the thing. If I felt like Jocelyn was a mystery to me, I think that I would be curious to see, like, how he was feeling in the moment. But Jacqueline Carey writes him so well that, like, I'm not... I don't need more description of him hanging out with the dogs. Mm. You know what I mean? Arzu says, I've heard it's not that great because it sounds like a Wikipedia retelling with sex-negative thoughts.
Yeah, I definitely don't feel like that's the kind of book that would ring well with your audience.
Yeah.
Because if your audience enjoyed your first book, that like Jocelyn's not like the bad guy for a bit of it, but is kind of an antagonist in a certain way in terms of like the culture. And so I could definitely see like that book being a bit of a downer because Jocelyn's like, oh, she's going and getting fucked again. Like, these people are so horny and corrupt and shit. And I don't find that super interesting.
Yeah, I feel weird about it because I'm like, I don't think I'll ever read that book.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I think that the way in which the story's told in this book is so good.
Yeah.
That I don't really need the like more broody, sad version of it.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Without the sexy times. Like,
I'm not a big I need to know what every character's thinking all the time guy. I just don't really care. I care about what's on the page. And what I don't know that you can like surprise me a second time.
Sure.
And so then I'm just reading to like find out what someone was thinking. And yeah, I don't know. It's just it's not that I think that those books are bad or that they should never exist. Like, other people are going to love them. I'm just not that interested in it.
Yeah. Yeah, the idea of that book doesn't like excite me. I'm like, eh.
Especially because I would be more excited if there were times in this book where Jocelyn and Fedra were apart, but there isn't.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, there's not even like a like, and then 6 months later we reunited. And because then I'm like, oh, give me the novella of what happened in those 6 months.
Sure.
Like, that I'm interested in. But Jocelyn's just present for everything. So it's just the only thing that could be different is Jocelyn's thoughts.
Yeah.
Unless Jocelyn's like, Fedra told it this way, but this is what actually happened.
Which would be so weird, yeah.
But that I'm also not that interested. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, but Jocelyn shows up. They do the home gang. They get a fur to throw down.
God, it's such a cool fight too, because Voldemort gets 3 shields, but obviously no one's gonna fucking offer a shield to Jocelyn in this one.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that book is Jocelyn before he meets Delaunay and Fedra. Oh, okay. See, that part of the book I'm interested in reading.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And okay, I take it back then. Yeah, if it's like the like childhood of him before, then like I said, like if there were 6 months where they're apart, I'd be interested in that.
Yeah.
I like a Jocelyn prequel about his youth and his training and like why he took his oath.
Well, in the same way that we got Fedra's introduction in the beginning of this book. Like, yeah, I could see that being interesting, yeah.
If it started on the day he met Fedra and ended at the end of this book, I'd not interested.
I'd be like, yeah, for sure.
Although, why would you write that book? Yeah. Although I've heard that's what the Edward Cullen book is, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Jocelyn and Voldemort fight, and it's pretty evenly matched. Like, Jocelyn is doing a great job. Fedra is very nervous and very much in pain.
Is so out of it. She's like, I don't even know how to describe this fight. Well, I can't remember the details of it.
She's like, I wish that I could describe the fight more poetically, and then proceeds to describe the fight so fucking poetically.
I know. I was like, sure, yeah, sure, girl, whatever.
Beautiful, like,
yeah.
And so the fight ultimately ends with Jocelyn getting a little snicked in there, and bleeding Voldemort Selig on the hide of the home gang, and he wins. And so obviously Voldemort's not gonna let him go. He's like, well, I'll kill you slow, but you won. Congratulations. And the trebuchets fire.
The trebuchets?
Yeah. And the gate opens, the riders come pouring out, and the trebuchets fire.
I thought you meant the Scaldi trebuchets. I was like, I thought they couldn't build those because they.
No, they start shooting shit off the walls
to
cover that the fucking guys are coming out. I was about to get to that, Arzu. So I should have done this in the right order. So basically what happens is Voldemort is like, I just wanted to say the trebuchets fire. I think trebuchets are cool. So the Voldemort is just like, I'm obviously still going to kill you both. And like, congrats, you won the home game, but like that doesn't mean that I have to let you go free or anything.
Yeah,
you just won the home game. That's awesome. And so
good for you, bud.
Jocelyn takes a knife to his own throat and like takes a dagger to like whip at Fedra.
Yeah.
Because they have this thing that's the final move of the companion.
They talk about in the Carsling training about how all these like fighting moves are named after like animals and movements
Cat
of
crosses
nature.
the courtyard.
Yeah, like literally like Wheel of Time-esque, and I was like, I've seen this before.
Mm-hmm.
Except for the terminus.
Mm-hmm.
Which is at first I did not understand what was going on. Then I was like, oh fuck.
I get it. It is the move of like you're paying me to not live in tortured pain.
Yes.
So I'm gonna kill you.
No one's ever used this before.
Well, not in like recent memory.
That they know of. No one has ever used it before.
Did I say never? I thought they had said that like it hasn't been
one's ever
used
successfully like done it. Yeah.
I thought that the book said that it hadn't been used in like living memory. But like in like previous times it had been. Because there was a play about someone using it, right? Fedra had gone to a play about like the last time it had been used, which was like before anyone alive was born.
Oh.
Yeah, it hasn't been performed in living memory.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that it's been done at some point.
Sure.
It's just not recent,
Yeah.
Like great granddaddy Kushiel did it, but
that's why Jocelyn has 2 daggers.
Mm-hmm.
One for him and one for Fedra, and he's getting ready to do it, to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
And then the trebuchet's fire.
No, yeah.
He does see. Sorry, he does actually see something happen behind Fedra.
Well, that's what stops him.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's gonna throw it at Fedra, and I was like, oh, he throws it at Fedra, but he doesn't actually throw the dagger at Fedra.
Well, and I think that it's such a beautiful moment and so well told by Fedra in her remembrance of it, in the like evoking the play. And I love that Fedra understood what was happening. It's not like I later found out that he was doing the terminus. She's like, in the moment as she's kneeling on this battlefield, she knew what he was going to do, and she was welcoming to it.
Yeah.
And understood it.
She thought that Jocelyn had showed up for his stupid pride, and that he was going to screw them over. Because I think, Fedra is like, I can withstand torture of myself, but like Jocelyn putting himself here makes all this like all the more difficult.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you and your stupid pride and all that shit, until she realizes that it is an out for both of them.
Yeah. That
he's sacrificing himself so that she doesn't have to be skinned alive.
Yeah, and God, this chapter rocked. And thank you, Arzu, for commissioning it, because it really was, it was a cool experience.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, I thought this was cooler than the battle the next day. Like, to me, this is the climax of the action of this book.
Yeah.
I desperately want to see a TV show of this done faithfully, like HBO. Make the scenes fucking erotic as shit. The ones that aren't, not rapey.
Yeah.
Because I want this moment in live action.
Mm-hmm.
You would have to show, like, the one thing I would change is that I would, in, like, episode 2, I would show the play. I would put the play within the play where the terminus happens. I would have, like, Fedra and Raphael. You don't need to do this in a book because she can beautifully describe it in the moment.
Yeah.
But foreshadowing this moment in... Or maybe I would have it be the, like, cold open. Like in episode 7 of Wheel of Time, they do the blood on the snow as, like, the cold open of that episode.
You'd have the play.
I would have...
cold open.
I would have the cold open of each episode be Fedra and Delaunay and a lesson he taught her that allows her to do everything she does in the future. Yeah. And
riding horses.
I would have the cold open of, because this would probably be episode 7 of an 8-episode season or episode 9 of a 10-episode season. Yeah. I would cold open this episode with young Fedra at the play.
Yeah. Sorry.
And I would have her watch that play before she knows Jocelyn, right? Yeah. Yeah, I think that's how I would do it in live action so that you properly foreshadow this moment so the audience is clued in on what is happening. Anyway, so yeah, so the Terminus doesn't have to go down because as I got too excited, I came prematurely to the point of the trebuchets. I love trebuchets. I don't understand trebuchets. The physics of them, it feels to me like more often than not, the payload should end up just getting flapped into the ground, and it never is. And this isn't that like trebuchets are wrong; they work. They just look confusing to me, and I think they look dope as shit. And so I'm a big fan of the trebuchet. I much prefer the trebuchet to the catapult, partly because I think the word trebuchet is more fun to say, if I'm being honest. But also just because the like scene in the scenes in Lord of the Rings when the Nazgul is riding around destroying the trebuchets in Minas Tirith is actually really cool.
All right.
I think trebuchets are rad.
Mm-hmm. It is definitely fun to say.
And so we get the desperate ride of a force of people out into the field here to save the day. They scoop up. Honestly, her getting skinned is bad. But the thing that really fucked with me was thinking about the moment when the Barquille Lambert fucking picks her up and drags her onto a horse with a flap of skin hanging off of her back.
It wasn't him, but it was like one of his soldiers, I thought.
I thought she ended up on his horse.
Was it? I don't know. It's his men.
It's his... Oh, I thought she ended up on his horse for some reason. The thought of getting grabbed and yanked onto a horse...
It was him.
It was him, yeah.
My bad.
Of getting yanked up onto a horse immediately after being skinned alive... I mean, you can watch our faces in that reaction. We both, like physically had a moment of pain in our own bodies thinking about it.
Even thinking about it now, I'm like, yeah.
I had a rough week, you guys. I'm not gonna lie. It's been a tough one. And part of the reason that it's been a tough week is I fell down the stairs and I fucked up my right shoulder. I'm in a bit of pain. But Tylenol, not a sponsor, but a good friend of the channel.
Seriously.
Tylenol extra strength because I'm a big boy. We went out for dinner with some friends the other night and they were like went for a hug and I like flinched my like shoulder away because I was like, oh, don't grab me there.
Yeah.
So like that minor pain is a lot to me. The idea that someone would grab me around the middle where I've been skinned and yank me. Just fucking... Oh, God.
That's why she sees Kushiel.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you really cannot deny that, like, these gods or angels are real because she literally can, like, see his fucking face when she's in pain.
Yeah.
He, like, shows up and he's like... He's the one who, like, woke her up. He's like, okay, now sneak out.
Yeah.
And she's like, all right, thank you. Mwah. Appreciate it. Which is so wild. But yeah. I do love that it is used very sparingly.
Yeah, Barquille Lambert. I do like that that is another aggressively French name, officially CM.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the one who was... Who was like, fuck Delaunay, hate that guy.
Yeah.
Can't believe I risked my life to save you, but here we are. Never thought that would happen.
Well, and I think that that's the power of this being so epic, right? Is that this book genuinely has people flip sides. And I've complained about that in some of our books in the past that we've read on here, in particularly one series that I won't mention because I don't want to spoil anything, but where like people will like just kind of be who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And this book isn't really that. Like, Melisande Charzai is kind of who she is, right? But these characters adapt to new information in really interesting ways.
Mm-hmm.
And they are genuinely changed by what they learn. And that helps them feel real again, right?
Yeah.
In that they're not, like, the sides aren't the most strict. I honestly thought we were going to see Gunther again in some fashion against Voldemort.
I thought it was possible for sure.
But yeah, I think I think that there's like a really interesting way in which like Kushiel Lambert was the bad guy. We did not like this man.
Yeah.
And now we're like, fuck yeah, dude.
I guess he's all right.
He's on the team.
Yeah.
And I think that the natural progression of that was handled perfectly.
Yeah.
So we talked about this in the audiobook reaction, and I want to make sure that makes it here because it's one of my favorite points about this book. I love that, again, the setup for the final fight. The Scaldi don't get to go into the final fight believing that Voldemort is this unbeaten champion.
Yeah, he's not. Oh my God, what's the phrase that they use? It's basically
it's not like
invincible.
untouched by the blade or
something by steel. He can't. He can't be cut. He can't be like you can't use weapons against him. I can't remember the exact phrasing of it. But like the Scaldi believe this about their leader.
Yeah.
Proof against weapons. Thank you.
Proof against weapons.
Yes, he is very much not that. He got cut. He bled a little bit, and that to the Scaldi people is probably incredibly shocking.
Well, and probably shocking to Voldemort, right? Like, I do wonder... I do wonder if he entered into that final fight with Isidore, and, like, we'll never know, right? He died. Unless we get, like, you know, his book next.
Oh, my God, yeah.
We'll never know, but I do wonder if that opened up some paths for Isidore to take him out, right? Did he go into that final fight without as much confidence as he maybe would have had previously?
Yeah.
Because he lost the home gang the night before.
Yeah.
How much did that play into Isidore being able to beat him?
Because that's how he was able to down Jocelyn, right?
Yeah.
He was absolutely fearless, didn't believe he could get hit, stepped into the guard, and just like was able to take him down because he has no problem closing that distance with people.
Yeah.
And whether or not he truly believes that he's proof against weapons, I think is probably not true. But the confidence of never being like touched in battle that way and defeated is still a psychological effect that is going to change how you enter these high stress situations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so Phaedra gets stitched up, relays the plan, and the team gets to work figuring out what they're going to do at daybreak.
She's like, hey, Dresden is out there and he loves you.
Girl, he loves you.
Bad. Jocelyn is like, nah, he down bad. He's so horny for you.
I fucked all of the monarchs except him. Don't worry.
Don't worry about that one. I also love that she tells Ysandra that she convinced the twins. Not how she convinced the twins.
But then Quintilius fucking told her.
Yeah.
And she's like, you sent the fucking priest of Nama, Kushiel's daughter. What'd you think was gonna fucking happen? What'd you think was... How did you think I was gonna convince them?
Yeah.
I fucked them. It was great. They're both... fucking... Amen? What's his name?
Huh?
The guy who died. No. The twins.
Oh, Aemon.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, we'll get to Aemon's death. So they start planning. And is it Eamonn? Interesting.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. I read a few chapters physically in this book, but none with him in it. And we get him. We get them planning.
Grania is the weirdest one to me. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Aemon and Grain.
Yeah.
And so the Scaldi start to attack, and they're like, let's mount the best defense ever. Let's fucking like show them off. And Kushiel Lambert is like, no, whoa, chill. Everybody fucking chill. No. Let's mount a half-hearted defense. Let's look a little defeated.
Oh, I don't think that was Barkiel. I think that was actually Percy de Somerville. Because he's the captain of the guard. Yeah.
Right.
So it's his. So it's the dad of the Gary, fucking whatever his name is. I can't remember now.
Gile.
Yeah. The son is outside the walls and the father is inside the walls.
Yeah.
And and Percy's the one who's like, all right, calm the fuck down. We can't let them know that we're actually pretty well stocked. Okay.
Yeah.
We gotta save that until they get too confident. Yeah.
Yeah, and because I like the idea of it, of like, let's slow play it, because if they think that we're slow playing it, we might just like slowly get to dawn because they think they're gonna win anyway.
Yeah.
And it is a really brilliant strategy
Mm-hmm.
that plays out well. And we get to the final morning, and the battle has been waging through the night,
Mm-hmm.
and shit's going crazy. And they look to the east, and riding over the hill, we get Deglamore, Dristan riding into battle, and there was a complicated moment that I need to go back and reread to understand. But basically, they were like, if you shoot a trebuchet left,
it means that so if you shoot the trebuchet to the east, it means that they all it means that Voldemar went with the majority of his forces to that direction to take them head on. And if we shoot the trebuchet to the west, it means that there's a considerable amount of forces still at the keep and the castle, and so they're not split in the way that we would prefer them to be.
And it was cool and great.
Yeah.
The thing I didn't understand about it is, don't they have to like go out of a drawbridge? Like the like cavalry army leaving the keep kind of has one place to go.
Sorry, what?
I didn't fully understand how the plan of like leading the cavalry charge out of the castle would change depending on where Selig was, because like they're surrounded, like they have to like go out the door.
I thought it was
cool, and like I
for where Selig was.
Yeah, I didn't understand what it would change for the cavalry leaving the keep. All of the battle stuff that happened is really cool.
I think it just changes the amount of resistance that they're going to encounter, as opposed to changing the actual strategy, if that makes sense.
The direction of the trebuchet shot changes where the castle contingent goes after they get out of the drawbridge.
After they get out of the drawbridge.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, they're still gonna have to get through the people right in front of the door. It seems like that's the problem.
Yeah.
Is the people right in front of the door. I don't know that, like, yeah, and they're like, well, attack the weak side. And I was like, you still have to get across the drawbridge.
Yeah. Which they can, and they do.
And so Phaedra, despite the fact that she's probably still bleeding from the skin that has been skinned off of her back, is deferential to the queen so that she can look through the arrow slit that they've been watching the battle from. And they see the fighting start to rage. And Selig turns towards Isidore Deglamore as his army marches in. They see Isidore Deglamore's army before Selig's because of the height. But and I loved... there was something about the language of... there was no hiding them once they were on the open plain. Like, really simple things like that, where like the sentences just felt very naturally said, even though they were heightened language. Right,
yeah. Because Selig sent out like scout parties to suss out who none of them made it back. And so the armies were able to get as close as possible without Selig being notified to them, which is great. A great advantage.
Yeah.
But yeah, once you get out of the woods or onto the flat plain, like it's hard to hide thousands of people.
And so the charge happens, and they go to war. And Jocelyn and Phaedra, there's a moment where they like leave the safety to go look out over the like what are they called? Crenulations?
Ramparts? I don't know.
Yeah. And they look out and they see that Jocelyn's brother is out there, and he's about to get overtaken.
They're not in the courtyard yet.
What?
They're not in the courtyard yet.
I'm skipping. I don't want to talk moment by moment through the whole battle. I'm just skipping to moments.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you want to go moment by moment, I
just was going to talk about...
We're an hour and a half in. Bring up whatever you want.
Well, I think that obviously Isidore fighting Selig is important.
Sure, we just don't really see that. Like,
no.
She's
but
like, it happens, and then
he does take his entire force of cavalry and just kind of like drive a wedge in, and they get picked off one by one, and he takes whatever it was 17 wounds to get there and take down this guy.
We just find out most of that when they find his body later.
Yeah.
Right?
Then the Celts do another kind of pincer.
Yeah.
What are they? Not carriages. carts the, oh my god, there's a name for them, and I feel she rides around in one all the time.
The cameling charge is it's very epic. Chariots,
yeah. The chariots on one side, everyone else on the other. It's great. And so when the army inside the castle goes to leave, and they leave to join the fight, some of Selig's men, when they see people riding towards them, they come back into the keep. And so there is a fight that starts in the courtyard there, which is when Jacqueline looks down and sees his brother Luke there. Yeah. There's like a silver braid that whips by, and he's like, "Wait a minute, that's my brother." Yeah. And Fisher's like, "Get the fuck down there. Fuck your odds."
Well, no, she grabs and gives him a big old kiss.
Yeah.
And she's like, "If you don't save him, what the fuck is the point?"
Yeah.
What the fuck is the point, man?
Yeah.
You've already broken every oath. Go save your fucking brother.
Yeah, pretty much.
And he does, because Jocelyn fucking kicks ass. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised. No, I'm not surprised. It is interesting how comfortable Jocelyn is in this kind of combat, because it feels like it would be very different than the things he would be trained for naturally. You know what I mean? Like this kind of like battlefield combat is very different than like sort of the protective combat of what I think that his training would be in. But he kind of steps into it very naturally.
He has also been training like seriously since the age of 10. So obviously it's going to be focused towards the protection of an individual, but I think that there must be enough like fighting large groups is going to be a big part of that training. And so I feel like, you know, the chaos of war is not really something you can train that well for, but engaging a group where you're outnumbered and trying to protect someone feels like it fits in pretty well.
Yeah, and so the reason Jocelyn goes, we didn't say this, but fucking Fedra goes, "I love you, and if you ever want to hear me say that again, you'll go save him."
Yeah.
Great line.
If you fail, I'm never going to say it again.
Great fucking line.
Yeah.
No, not if you fail. It was like
I know.
If you don't go.
I'm just teasing. And they win. They're able to drive the Scaldi out of the courtyard or kill them. Whichever one. And Jocelyn is reunited with his family. His brother and his father are there in the keep.
His father's missing an arm. Or part of an arm.
Oh, yeah, gosh.
I don't know where it was cut off, but his father's, like, bleeding from, like, a very serious wound.
He definitely took a wound. I can't remember the actual severity of it, but he survives, so it's fine.
Official ACM says, Jocelyn fell on the Scaldi like a shining star is bars. Yes. But again, like, if we just pulled out good lines and was reading good, we would just read the book. Like, this book is so beautifully written.
Yeah. His hand. Right. So it's not like it's full arm.
I couldn't remember where he lost it. I just knew that he was...
It was somewhere between here and here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. It's so fucking good. They win.
It's an incredible... It is such a good book.
Yeah. They break the Scaldi.
I'm surprised.
Scaldi flee.
And I think that it's because it's so sexual. But I'm genuinely surprised. I had never heard of this book before...
Me neither.
It was brought up for this.
Yeah.
Like, I'd never heard of it. And it's so well written that I'm like, how have I not... Like, I took women's lit in college. How was this not on the curriculum?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how is this not being taught in... Not at, like, a high school level. I think it's not appropriate. But for a college level course about, like, great fantasy literature written by women, I don't know how Kushiel's Dart isn't the first book you learn in that.
Yeah. Wonder what is the first book you learn in that?
It's like Jane Eyre.
Maybe.
I mean, it had been out for a decade, Threk. Like, I went to college in 2010, so it's not like this was, like, new.
I mean, the education system is definitely not known for its...
I read one of the comic books, what is that book called? Persephone? It's a comic about this girl who grew up in, I think, Iraq, during the, like, religious revolution of the 60s or 70s. And it's like about Persepolis, thank you.
Interesting.
Which was newer than this would have been. But Iran, thank you, officially Sam. I haven't read it in over a decade.
I was gonna say,
I remember
you haven't read it in like
broad strokes of it. It's like if you've never read Persepolis, it is like anyone who says that comic books can't be like culture changing art haven't read Persepolis and Fun Home. The two of the best comics I've ever read in my entire life. But Persepolis is awesome. But like that was new when we read that. So I don't know. I think that this.
Maybe it's because it's fantasy.
I think it's because it's sexual.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I think that like without the sexual stuff, I think that like this would be a taught book, because it is a masterpiece, and it is of prose. It is so beautifully written.
Yeah.
And I think that people just get so squeamish about sex, and that's so funny to me. Like.
Yeah, that's we're gonna have an interesting chat like once we've wrapped up the story overview, because I think that is such a fundamental part of the story, and I think why it resonates with me in a way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that the sex is probably part of it.
Prudish fucking Americans. Then the war is over. The Scaldi have been routed.
Yeah.
It's so well fucking written.
They're able to...
It's epic as hell. Like, you feel every moment of it. I didn't want to, like, talk each moment of the fight, because I think that gets a little... For book club, it's tough to talk through battles.
Yeah, they're able to get ransom for a lot of the Scaldi, which helps them rebuild, which is really nice.
Yeah, I love the line of, like, a lot of Deglamore, because it's not, like, ransom of Scaldi shit. They literally are like, hey, if you give us our shit back, we won't kill your people.
I mean, yeah, they were looted pretty heftily. I do have one chunk that I screenshot because it really, like, in a book of beautiful language, it stood out to me, and it is Valdemar Selig, who had taken them unmasked, lay upon a field, his body broken and twisted, forked beard pointing skyward, and asking unanswered questions of the heavens. I could have answered them if he'd asked. If he'd ever asked. But he had not asked me, reckoning the soul of Terdange lay within its warriors and not its whores. I lay my hand upon his cold face, closing those asking hazel eyes. I was like, damn! Like, I was literally like, what? Especially the soul of Terdange lay within its warriors and not its whores line. I was like, holy shit. That line goes hard.
And Fedra is
so good.
Still respecting him.
Yeah.
That's a humble queen.
Yeah.
We stand.
We do. We stand a humble queen.
We stand a humble queen. I'm not as good with language as Jacqueline Carey is.
Yeah. Gunter seems to have escaped.
The weird thing about Gunter is I could see him being an ally in the future.
Yeah, maybe.
I could see him, like, rising up the ranks. He was a smart guy.
He's like,
and her being like, hey, look, we were at war once, but I also hated Barkil Lambert once.
Here's the thing.
Help me out.
Here's the thing. If Hedwig is like, yeah, I'll marry you because Fedra told me to, he owes his life to Fedra, honestly.
Yeah, Hedwig. Once he marries her, I mean, she might be the person who unites the Scaldi with Terdange in the future.
Hey, I could see that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Arzu says there's also the fact that prostitutes are respected in this book, which goes against religious virgin versus whore theology. Yeah, by everyone except Jocelyn.
Yes, but it's why he feels like kind of an antagonist for a while. And why they do kind of almost enemies to lovers trope, but it's not that trope. You know what I mean? It's kind of trope, but not trope, which is it's so well done. So, yeah, Fedra cares for the wounded, even though she is one of the wounded.
Well, and I was like, girl, go lie down.
Yeah.
She's like, I spent all day
She's not well.
Well, and one of the things I love is that she was like, I made sure to spend time with these Albans who are hurt and can't speak to the people tending for them. Mm-hmm. The doctors taking care of them don't speak their language. And so she's the one who's there. She's
translating. Her voice is like ragged. She's translating for not only the wounded, but for the queen, right?
She's writing their letters so that the ones who... The fucking thing that broke me was that she was writing letters home for people who were going to die.
Yeah, who would never make it back.
Promising that their letters would make it home. That got me right in the fucking...
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. We also find out that Aemon dies.
Yeah. And Grania isn't sad about it.
She's...
Not sad, but she's...
grieves, but she is also so... She's wonderful.
Yeah. She's sad that he's dead. I'm not saying that she's like casual about it, but
Yeah.
she's so stoic in the face of it, and as a way of respecting his accomplishment. You know what I mean?
Yes. She doesn't want to, like, be so grief-stricken that it takes away the good that he did. And then she fucking steals his head and preserves it to take back home with her, which is fucking crazy. But I
don't
love
think so.
her for it. I love her for it. She's also pregnant. Hilarious.
Oh, Wyvern Tark says, I know this comes later, but the line that messed me up was Aemon will never again balance his sister.
Yeah, fuck. That was rough. So beautiful
Which
and
is so
poignant.
It's so funny because it's so beautiful, but it is a reference to the fact that Phaedra fucked both of them. Like, this book is able to make something as sort of crass as I fucked these two into going to war.
These two siblings.
Into
yeah.
this beautiful line of Aemon will never again balance his sister.
Yeah.
Or this line from Officially Sam, Isidore de Glamore, the traitor Duke de Terdange, drank inside, sighed, and died. Because, we should say, Phaedra goes out into the field, and Isidore's still alive.
Yeah, for a brief moment.
And she's able to kind of, like, promise him that he'll be remembered for this.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. Everything. The whole book is just, like, all of these beautiful little fucking moments.
I feel like every paragraph was a beautiful moment. Like a beautiful screenshot captured in the like absolute chaos that was the end of this battle. But they are able to come home victorious. They ride into the city of Eloa, which is basically depleted because of the fucking plague and the war. Like it's the city is in a state, but the joy of seeing their queen come home victorious.
We're not there yet.
Sorry.
There's someone we have to talk about before we get to Eloa.
Yeah, right.
There's a big moment.
Yeah.
Because
I got excited.
The Duke de Morban shows up. Because they're still up north. Because they're waiting to they're waiting for shit to calm down before they ride home.
Who is with him?
And the Duke de Morban brings in Melisande Charzai.
Yeah, so she kind of has a
alive.
trial. She's there, and it's not.
I do love that Isandra at some point pulled everyone together. Was like, all right, Phaedra, I need you to stand right here, and we're gonna put all these tall men in front of you so that Melisande can't see, so that I can get my dramatic reveal.
Yeah. I love it. I love the coordination.
Yeah.
Melisandre's like, oh wow, you're accusing me of some crazy shit. I really would love to see the evidence for this.
And then the seas part, and Phaedra steps forward, and Melisande is just like, fuck.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, Phaedra's like, I literally saw your letter with your seal on it. I know exactly what the plan was. So you're
Isandra's
you're
like, and the proof of what you've done is, have you seen all the dead bodies we're still cleaning up outside? Mm-hmm.
No, she hasn't. She hasn't thought about the cost.
Well, no, she had to ride in through the battlefield to get here.
I just mean Melisande hasn't spared a thought for all of the people that died because of her wanting to play the game.
I just mean that the evidence of the Scaldi invasion is on the doorstep of this building.
Yes.
I love this. Love Melisande going, well, you got me. It's a fair cop, Gov.
Yeah.
Well, and she doesn't even, offer a defense. She's like, yeah, I did all that.
She's like, oh, well, then I have nothing to say.
So Phaedra rips the diamond off her throat, throws it at her feet, because she was waiting for the moment where she got back at Melisande to do that. Mm-hmm. And Azu brings up the line, this is yours, but I am not.
Yeah.
Which is real cool.
I was so proud of Phaedra.
Yeah.
I was so fucking proud.
Of course, you gotta be proud of her. She fucking, she stood up to this woman, and then later that night goes to her room alone, and they have a conversation, and Melisande kind of puts some weird thoughts in Phaedra's head about, if I had just been the one to buy you instead of Delorne, this would have all gone differently, which, true.
Would have gone differently. What Phaedra would have done is a question mark, for sure. She's almost
she would have
sure.
She would have worked for Melisande. Phaedra's morals are so defined by Delorne's. You know what I mean? There was a lot of nurture in there. And thankfully she was nurtured by a fucking great man. Yeah. You know what the end of this book really tells you? Delorne was a fucking gem.
Yeah.
Delorne, he fucking got exiled by a family and then spent the rest of his life just doing everything he could to protect that family. He was just a good dude.
Yeah.
Just purely a good dude. And he taught... Look, did he buy a teenage slave and turn her into a prostitute? Yeah.
In this world, not that weird.
Did he give her all the tools she needed to survive a crazy war and then also make her his heir so that she's still rich as fuck? He also did that part too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I'm with Seth. I was screaming no and to listen to Hyacinth when she went to see her. I
disagree.
I was like,
wasn't.
oh no, this is gonna go so bad, and I'm really worried that Melisande was able to escape because Fedra went and saw her. I don't know how and I don't know why, but it does feel very ominous that is how things played out because Fedra goes to see Melisande, and it's
Wait, just officially saying. I love what he did. Delaunay, the guy who raised 2 kids to be sex spies, is a great guy. Sounds crazy, but somehow
it works.
That's the magic of Jacqueline Carey. Is that like that is insane?
Yeah. And it's true.
It's true?
Yeah.
Facts?
Yeah, they have a harrowing conversation, and Melisande does not seem fucking phased at all.
She already knows she's getting out.
Well, and that's the thing is, I'm like, maybe she already knows, but I just think that the warning from Hyacinth is a little ominous, because, Fedra goes and she, like, stands vigil all night. She can't sleep. And in the morning, looks like Melisande has escaped.
Oh, and also, like, I just love that I love that Fedra went by herself because it is a show of strength for herself. Like, she knows she got through that.
Sure.
Because, and I brought this up in the audiobook reaction. I think, did we reacted to this one, right? This was 92?
92, yeah.
Where I was like, you know what? Like, this book really is about grooming, in a way, right? Melisande, I mean, obviously, Delaunay also groomed Fedra, but not in the same way. Melisande groomed Fedra to be her own thing. And there's a really powerful narrative of overcoming that in this for Fedra. And she doesn't do it fully, right? She's not okay afterwards.
Yeah.
But I think that she is stronger for having stood up to her in this moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so she leaves being like, nah, you're going to die and that's going to be better. And then the next day, Melisande escaped.
Yep.
Who do you think saved her? Prediction time for when we get to the next book in May. Or hopefully March, but maybe May.
I think it's possible that what's-his-face who brought her in is the one that helped her
I don't
escape.
think it's the Duc de Morban. I got the vibe from how things went with Fedra that he kind of likes to play by the, like, letter of the law a little bit. And I don't think that he would have brought her in and then gotten her out. I don't. I think it's going to be someone more surprising. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the Barquille Lambert. I think that he wanted to survive this against Ascaldi, but I don't know that he's fully on Isandra's side.
Right. That they work together more out of necessity.
Yeah, and that might just be my prejudices from the first half of the book when he's more of an antagonist to our main characters.
Maybe.
But I my first thought was Barquille Lambert.
Huh.
It'd be wild if it was Jocelyn. It wouldn't be, but it'd be wild if it was.
Yeah,
He doesn't have the power to get, like, horses out and stuff, so it couldn't have been him. Or, like, Jocelyn's dad. If it comes out that, like, Jocelyn's dad is, like, a villain in book 2 and 3.
Oh, no.
That would be wild.
The thing is, they kind of, like, list the number of people who would be able to have the trust to get close enough to the guards to kill them.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. When we do a full book recap, I will see if I can't, come up with some theories on it. Because I want to reread this book.
Yeah, Percy de Somerville is an interesting one.
That was one that came to mind.
I really don't think it's Gaspard Trevelyan. I really don't.
No, yeah.
But it might be. We're going to find out later.
Yeah.
And so we finally get a wedding. Guys, we go back to town. Sans Melisande. Oh, no. In the conversation, obviously Fedra is able to quickly talk her way out of any suspicion. But I love her being like, why? The only reason you are able to kill her is because I say so. If I wanted her to be safe, I could just not.
Yeah, because she gets interrogated for it. And
everyone gets interrogated, like, appropriately.
Yeah, I think that, like, her being the one to go see Melisande alone the night that she escapes is obviously, like, throws her into suspicion.
If she wanted, like, her evidence to save herself being like, I literally, if I just said that I lied, she would live.
Yeah, without me, there would be no evidence. Yeah.
And to Assandra's credit, she's like,
You're right. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you're right. I like when smart characters are swayed by facts.
And also,
you know what I mean? When they're not like, well, maybe, like, she's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Especially when we know the truth because we're reading it from the main character's perspective. Yeah. I sometimes find it frustrating when books try and play the, like, you know that the person's telling the truth, but the other character in the scene
Yeah.
thinks they're lying for not a great point.
And I do love that the fact that Yasandra apologized is noted by, like, the entire room of people. People
Even
are like,
though
oh, shit.
I don't think she should have apologized. I don't think she had anything to apologize for.
Phaedra did get dragged into the room to be interrogated.
And I think that everyone should have.
I think it's more that Yasandra is like, you have done so much for me, and I am speaking to you more harshly than you deserve based on that. Like, 'cause she is a little bit, like, aggressive in moments, because she's freaked out.
In my eyes, though, like, that's the way you have to play it with every single person until you check them off. Not that you're... I don't think that Yasandra thought that it was her, but I think that you kind of have to hardball everybody.
Sure.
So that you're not taking the risk.
Yeah.
And if I was interrogated like that and then let go when they were happy with my answers, I wouldn't be like mad that I got interrogated. I'd be like, I am glad you're doing your due diligence.
Yeah.
And that involves me as well.
Yeah.
And so I also think that Phaedra relates that, where Phaedra doesn't seem upset. Like, Phaedra's like, yeah, they needed to interrogate me. They did. They believed me when I talked. I told them the truth. They believed it, and we're good.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, I think that people feel slighted by shit that other people have to do too often. And it's like, really think about, like, their perspective, and, like, they're just doing what they need to do to keep the kingdom safe.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not like she's, like, tortured. They're just a little bit like, Harry, did you put your name in the goblet of fire?
Yeah. Yep. And they get back home, and we get a wedding, finally.
We do get a wedding.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
There's some other stuff that goes into the preparations for it. Dresses and logistics and all that.
Oh, I like this from Wyvern Tark. Phaedra didn't need Yasandra to apologize, but Yasandra needed to apologize, I think. I like that, actually.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I do like that. What were you saying?
Phaedra gets to help Yasandra plan her wedding, and she's like, she's never had a chance in her whole life to have these, like, kind of girlish fantasies.
Yeah.
And this is the one time in her whole life where she's allowed to indulge a little bit.
Well, she's always surrounded by boys. Like, Phaedra doesn't even have any female friends.
You mean Yasandra?
No, Phaedra.
Oh,
like,
no,
Phaedra,
I was
like,
commenting on the fact that Phaedra says that Yasandra is able to, like, live out these
I know that,
dreams.
but it's also kind of Phaedra's first time.
Sure.
Like, when Phaedra is saying that about Yasandra, right? There is a similar thing with Phaedra, where, like, she's always been surrounded by boys. The one kind of woman in her life was, like, 60 and was, like, teaching her things, right?
Yeah.
Like, she had, like, a professor who was a woman, but she, like, in the whole book, she doesn't have a female friend her age. And so, like...
Not really her age. Probably the closest thing she has is, like, the King's poet.
Like...
No, the King's poet who takes her to see the show.
Oh, Felicis de Mornay?
They kind of have a friendship. But again, they definitely don't seem that close in age.
But that's still, like, her adopted dad's friend.
Yeah. But yeah, Yasandra is close to her age. Exactly.
Yeah, and so it's like, this is also kind of Phaedra's first time. She comments on it being Ysandra's, but it's also hers.
Yeah.
And there's an interesting way in which sometimes Phaedra talks about other people's experiences that she's also experiencing, but doesn't make them about her.
Yeah.
Even though she could, but she doesn't. She chooses not to make it about herself. Even though, in a lot of ways, this is her first time in the court in this way, and it not being about her being a prostitute.
Yeah.
It is her first time getting dolled up for an event that isn't about selling herself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Except, the one she got to go to the longest night when she was 10.
But
sure. Every time she's dolled up after that,
still.
It's part of a job.
Yeah.
And the wedding is kind of the first time for Phaedra where she's getting dolled up and beautiful, and
it's a celebration.
Doing this process.
Yeah.
Not with the intention of, even though she does, like, she's at the wedding and she's like, there were a bunch of people who have paid to fuck me in this room, but I didn't acknowledge it because that would be rude.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
And we got the wedding, and the wedding was beautiful.
It was. The toasts
Brandon
were beautiful.
Sanderson, don't be a coward.
Yeah, give us the weddings.
Give us the weddings. Write the weddings out. They're not a thing that you have to hide. They're a really earned and beautiful moment, and I like the wedding descriptions.
It was beautiful, and the celebration where Phaedra's able to, like, relax a little bit. She gets a little bit drunk. She dances with Jacqueline. She dances with everybody.
She dances with Tristan, and people are like,
people are like, oh my god. She's like, fuck
they know each other really
whatever.
well. They're friends.
Yeah, we also, like, I speak his language.
We spoke to a god together.
Literally.
How much of that do you think they tell people? How much of that's public?
Well, the thing is, people know that the Master of the Straits is real.
Yeah, but like how many people... One thing we didn't get at the end of the book was that I thought we were going to was Fedra going to Hyacinth's people.
No, yeah.
To like give the barn to the kid, to the girl.
She did, yeah.
Did I miss that?
Yeah, she did that, yeah. Yeah, it's a really beautiful moment where she remarks how Hyacinth's people really loved him and cared for him. And how he took good care of them.
I don't remember that at all.
That's...
Weird.
Yeah. It's not much of a moment. It's, maybe a couple of sentences.
I must have like zoomed out for a second.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, it's weird that we didn't get that.
No, yeah, we did get that. And then we get the moment afterwards where Ysandra asks Fedra if she will return to Nama's service.
Mm-hmm.
Fedra's like, yeah, you know what? I'm rich in friends, but I have no money. I'm actually very poor. And Ysandra's like, hold my beer. And it turns out that Fedra has inherited the estate and title that belonged to Delaunay before he was like...
Girl, you rich.
Yeah, girl, you rich.
You rich.
Yeah.
And you don't have to split it with Alcuin because he dead.
Yeah.
Everything's coming up Fedra.
Well, and they also were like, we wrongfully, seized the property, like Delaunay's house and all this stuff. And she's like, you know what? I can't have the house. I'll maybe take some of the possessions or whatever it is, but like, I'm not gonna.
She's like, I'll just take money. And they're like, okay.
Yeah.
Straight cash money.
Yeah, cash money. Let's go.
And so, yeah, we get the rest of the book is,
her and Jocelyn ride out to the countryside. They pick up
an estate that is part of her inheritance.
They pick up a couple friends along the way that we met.
Yeah.
They reunite with the pony. Fedra rode in Scaldy.
No, when they got back from the Scaldy.
Yeah,
the Yeshuites.
Yeah, I just mean I actually don't remember what that land is called.
Terdosh?
No. The Scaldy land.
Scaldia?
Scaldia, that one.
I think it's Scaldia, right?
Probably. Fedra
She has 3 Fedra's boys.
She keeps her promise. All the surviving member of Fedra's boys, which was only like 15 of them.
Yep.
Out of the several hundred. They
have a great night.
They have a great night at the night court, and they're super happy about it. And 3 of them stay with her. They're like, this is our girl. We are Fedra's boys. She goes and she spends like a year in this beautiful countryside estate.
Fedra's boys become her like couriers.
Yeah. She writes letters to all of her friends. She's super happy until one day a guest shows up and is like, hey, you know where Melisande is?
And Fedra like presses a button under her coffee table and the wall behind her lifts up, and in where you would think there would be all the guns she's going to take into war, it's just a wall of various crops and sex toys.
I was going to say it's all flechettes.
And she's like, all right, it's time to go to war again.
It's time. Her name is very long now. Yeah.
Yeah, Fedra nu Delaunay Contest de Montreve.
Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot happening there.
And so she's going to go fuck her way back into intrigue. Because Melisande
sent her cloak back.
Well, what I love so much about it is that
was like, bet.
Melisande is, because understanding Melisandre's motivations in this book is a bit of is interesting, right? Because like, why did she do any of this?
Fedra asks her,
and then this is the real answer. The real answer to why Melisande did all of this was truly to do it.
Yeah. Because
Melisande is clearly doing some shady shit where she's stocked up, right? And she's like, hey, I actually want a fun opponent in this game.
This is what I live for.
It's very like Moriarty trying to tease Sherlock back into it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they do have that like yin and yang to them.
Uh-huh.
And so she literally puts the cloak, she gets the cloak back to her to be like, round 2?
Pretty much.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And I fucking love that.
Well, because the book was coming to an end, and I was like, how are there 2 more? Like,
yeah.
I was like, I don't really know where this is going. Obviously, Melisande is alive, so that's got to come back somehow.
And she starts learning that language.
Yeshuite?
Yeah, because their things are going to have the She thinks that the Yeshuite language will be the key to finding the way to save Hyacinth.
Hyacinth, yeah. Guillermo, thank you so much
Guillermo,
for
thank you for 10 gifted members. Thank you.
Good to see you. Welcome on in.
Appreciate you. Best 2 out of 3.
Yeah, literally.
Melisande lays down the best 2 out of 3 gauntlet.
Yeah, if you got a membership, there's lots to react to, I promise.
It's a great end to the book. I really like it.
And it really is like the last like 2 pages where it was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
With the cloak and everything and all of the thoughts that flash through her head in a split second. You know, what it means for her, what it means for Jacqueline, what it means for like the world in a weird way. And she's still like gonna try and help Hyacinth the best she can. It's man, it's so fucking good.
Yeah.
So fucking good.
And that's the end of the book. She accepts it, and Jocelyn, poor Jocelyn, all he wants is to not listen at the door while she has sex with other men. And it does not look like he's going to get what he wants.
Not just men.
True.
Fredra does it all. She's very talented. I hope that through this series, through all 3 of these books, I pray to fucking God that Fedra fucks the monarch of every single country.
I don't want her to fuck Tristan and Ysandra. Well, actually, if they have a threesome,
yeah,
that could be fun.
Right? Like, here's the thing. Tristan is from a totally different culture than Ysandra is. If Fedra came in and was like, here's our, like, Kama Sutra book.
I'm gonna walk you 2 through every page.
Yeah! No, 100%! I think that would be rad.
Gilbert, thank you for that super chat.
Thank you for the super chat.
Did not read this one, but a Nerdy Wordy Book Club is a Nerdy Wordy Book Club. You're the fucking best. Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
That's too kind.
We are at the very end of the book, so honestly, this probably won't spoil that much if you did want to read it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is the book. I'm enamored by this book. It is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
It is possible that like it could be a number 1 spot. I'm gonna reread it again. I love this book.
I love it. I think it is so well written.
Yeah.
Like it's an S tier shelf book for me. Like it is.
Yeah.
It is from a prose perspective beautiful the entire way through. From a story perspective, epic in a way that feels so foreshadowed and paid off in like these perfect little nuggets of ways.
Yeah.
It has so many different plots that tie together perfectly. It has tones that tie together perfectly. The comedy is very, very funny and successful. Mm-hmm. The action scenes are epic in a way that I did not expect.
The stakes are always high.
And the relationships are absolutely beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that like it's very adult, and I do understand why that limits readership.
Yeah, it comes with its trigger warnings.
God, is it just a fucking masterpiece of a book?
Yeah, I think that part of the reason this book will always be so special to me is that it is the first time reading a series where like it is my first time reading a series where sex work is such a huge part of the narrative.
Yeah.
In a positive light.
Yeah. In
not a way where it's like, well, you know, this woman was beaten and abused and poor and starving on the streets, so she became a prostitute and like kind of grabbed her destiny by the balls.
Yeah.
Vibe. Which I'm not saying that I hate that story.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that like as a sex worker who loves what I do for a living.
Yeah.
And granted, I don't do what Fedra does.
No.
Right. My experience of the work is completely different, and what I'm comfortable with is obviously completely different. Yeah. But reading a story from a perspective of someone who isn't like, God, I'm just doing this to try to survive, but someone who actually has
love for the game.
Yeah, who finds joy in the stuff that she does. And in the very end, she's like, you know, I don't know how long realistically I could stay away from it. It's something that I not only enjoy, but I'm damn good at.
Yeah.
I am great at this, and it is fulfilling to me as a character. I'm not like working my whole life to try and get out of this thing. Yeah. It is something that means a lot to me, that I have dedicated a lot to, and is shown as more of a positive thing than a negative thing. Right? There are a lot of books where sex work and prostitution is kind of from a perspective of a character who doesn't really like what they're doing.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
And I think that that is the case for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I don't want to deny the like experience of people who feel that way.
Yeah.
But as someone who like really loves my job, all aspects of my job. I love book club aspects of my job, the reaction aspects of my job, the modeling, the sex work, like all of it across the board. There are things about it that I love.
Yeah.
And so the framing that how Fedra is written as a character and how the work is framed in this book, I think is incredibly special to me. Because even if I read a book after this that does similar things, this will always be the first.
Yeah.
You know? And I love it. I'm like fascinated with their society.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I don't have the spy skills. That aspect of it, I am lacking in.
There's also not a lot to spy on in Canada. Like, what?
Yeah.
What are you gonna go learn?
I'm not like selling secrets. But
Yeah.
I think that especially for me and my lived experience, like this book really strikes a chord, you know?
Yeah. I think this book is truly phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I do. I genuinely think this book is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it. I'm so glad we ended up reading it.
Me too.
I'm really excited to do Morning Glory Milking Farm. Like, I'm really excited to like joke around and like
do
those things. But
so am I.
this to me is not a smut book. This is not some like
this is a work of
easy
art.
little it truly is.
Yeah.
And I would put this up there with anything I've ever read. In terms of quality of writing.
Yeah.
Truly.
Mm-hmm.
And just quality of characters. And yeah, I'm again, I know I've said it in this podcast, but like I'm shocked. I had never heard of it.
Yeah, same.
I don't understand how something can be this good and that I don't have any cultural awareness of it.
Yeah.
And
Kushiel's Dart is gonna be our Roman Empire.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna think about it a lot, right?
Yeah. We're gonna be like, guys, you have to read this book. There's a
you
list
talk
of
about
warnings.
like a tattoo cosplay. You should do a like Fedra's Mark photo shoot.
Oh my God, yeah. The problem is I'd have to like get a literal artist to try and like make it on my body. And I don't know who.
We could find someone.
Yeah, I probably could. Maybe when we're in LA, I'll just be like, Kelton, give me a bunch of tattoos.
Yeah.
Just do like a full tattooed. It's like me. It's just like a full tattoo body paint.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that would be sick. I don't look like Fedra, but that's fine.
Yeah, whatever. You're hot.
I'll make it work.
Yeah. Officially, Sam said, I told you all this is sort of one of the best trilogies of the last 25 years. I get it now. Yeah. I didn't get it then. And even after week 1 of reading, I was like, really?
I was like, this is a lot.
Yeah, and now at the end of the book, I'm like, I understand why it was so big. The beginning had to be that big, because otherwise you wouldn't understand how big the ending is.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I just yeah, I don't know. I walked away from this changed, and I love when books are able to do that.
Yeah, me too. We have said, because we're not doing a like full book recap of this book for a while, that if you guys had any questions that you might have like put in a questions channel for that kind of recap, we'll try and address some of those at the end.
Yeah.
So if you have any that you would like us to answer, let's fucking do it.
We'll do high-low while you guys think of those. And then we'll answer your questions, and we'll get out of here so that we can drive to Buffalo.
Yeah. Nerds got a long drive, so if this book club is a little bit shorter than usual, do not take it as
we're still at 2 hours and 50 minutes before high-low, so.
I know. I just mean, like I think that we could just sing the praises of this book forever, but...
Yeah. The high-low of this podcast is where we commiserate over each other's lows, celebrate each other's highs. Clarissa does her high first, then I do low, she does low, and I do my high, so we compliment sandwich this bitch. The reason we do this is because when I was a child, my mom married my stepdad, and I had 2 stepsisters all of a sudden, and I had my 3 siblings, and so we had to blend that shit and find a way to do it healthily, and so we did that by doing high-low at dinner every night, and brought that into the podcast. Full explanation done. Clarissa, what's your high for Kushiel's Dart?
Fuck. It's so tough because I think maybe my high for like the section and then my high for the book.
Oh yeah, let's do both.
Like
kind
of different. Yeah. Like my high for this section I think is really the oh my gosh, Fedra's perspective on what is happening and what leads her to then sneak into the camp. Like for this section, those moments and that fight are I just think like unparalleled. Fucking the way that I was just enthralled by the whole thing that played out. Like S tier, fucking 10 out of 10. And then I think like in terms of a whole book, I just think that it is the way that this book will stick with me because, like I said, its perspective on people in sex work who don't hate everything about it, like who like it really was just a breath of fresh air. It was so refreshing.
Yeah. Beautifully
written, but like how it related to me is like my high for this book.
Yeah, for sure.
If that makes sense.
No, I think it's a great choice.
Yeah, what's your lows for the section in the book? Good luck. Good fucking luck picking.
It would have been nice if Fedra could have been at a vantage point to see the Isidore Voldemort fight closer. It's as close as I can come to look. 'Cause the moment's still great. But that's kind of it. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't really have a low. For the whole book, I mean, it's still the pacing of the beginning was just a little bit much.
I think that
if there's one criticism I have of this book, that's it. I don't think it tanks the book. Like, it's not like a killer to me because I still think the book's incredible.
It's just maybe the least favorite part.
Yeah, that's just like the closest I can come is that it's a lot of exposition at the beginning.
Yeah. Mine's gonna be the same.
Yeah.
I don't have much else to say about this book that is negative.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a very
It's
low.
a mild low.
Yeah. What's your high?
But it was the same with Alloy of Law, right? Like, recently, it's the last couple of books we've read, it's been harder to find lows.
Yeah.
Oathbringer, too. Oathbringer was really good.
Yeah.
My high of this section, I really liked Fedra reaching out to Isidore to offer him the, death. To choose his death.
And the drama of it.
Because we've seen that happen a number of times throughout, where that people choose their death in this world. And I think... I think that I really, really appreciated how I love that scene where she was like, you can die because of Melisande, or you can die in battle against Voldemort. And Isidore being like, how good is he? And Joss is like, the best. And he's like, well, then I gotta fucking, he's like,
better.
if the last thing I do is test myself against the best, that's a pretty good way to go out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that to me was my high for this section. For the book... The book is tough. I think my high for the book, looking back on things...
It's tough.
Yeah, it's really hard. There's so many wonderful moments.
Yeah.
I think my high for the book might be, the relationship between Fedra and Delaunay. And how that... how he frames her worldview... and allows for her to be this open, she's so empathetic because of how he taught her and how he raised her with such kindness. And, it's not perfect. There's a lot of weird things culturally that feel very distant from me culturally. Mm-hmm. But the empathy that they shared and the empathy that he pushed her and Alcuin to have towards one another and how that informed the way that she treated people as the rest of the book played out, I think is my high.
I love that.
Yeah, she has incredible empathy for people, even the people who wrong her.
Yeah.
And I love that. It's similar to Tandro and Demon Slayer. I rarely gravitate towards characters who are overly empathetic. Yeah,
and it's interesting that just because she's overly empathetic doesn't mean that she's, perfect. She feels jealous of people still. She's still... there are... You can be empathetic without also... What am I trying to say? She... has incredible empathy, and yet is still flawed in ways around that, which feels very real.
Yeah.
Arazu, thank you for that super chat. Predict over under X months, years, decades on how long before we get Hyacinth off that rock.
If it happens, I'm predicting 5 years.
5 years?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's already a year in this book of them just fucking building their
No, I was gonna say like 13.
No, I think he'll get off there when he's still young enough to like be married and like have a kid before 30.
Really? Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it'll be more like a decade.
Okay.
Um.
I think 5 years after this book's over, not 5 years including that year.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Officially, CM asks, is Jocelyn now the deadliest man in Europe since Selig and Deglamore are dead?
Depends if Drustin's on a horse.
No, there's one Carceline brother who's like 42 who is the best. He's like the fucking, like, the best fighter. No one knows it because he will not pull his sword out. But there's that one guy that's got like dad strength and also experience that could just whoop Jocelyn's ass. Justin. That could whoop Jocelyn's ass just by nature of like he's who Jocelyn will be at when he hits 40.
Yeah.
We don't know that guy's name, but there's that one guy that even the Carceline brothers are like, I don't even want to train against him.
Yeah.
That dude's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's always that one guy.
There always is. Mimunk asked, Nerdy, do you think showing the aftermath of the battles makes them feel different from Stormlight / Wheel of Time battles? Yeah, I definitely think that this book lingered on more of the visceral consequences of the violence, especially with Phaedra personally tending to people who could not, while she's injured, who were dying and taking their letters to take them back home because they weren't going to make it.
Yeah, I think what's tough is that like it was the end of the war, and we actually never got that in Wheel of Time or Stormlight, right? Like we never really ended a war. Those series both, Stormlight were not done, and Wheel of Time, like the final battle is so huge. Every other battle before that, it's like we've got to move on to the next bad guy, right? And so I think that there's something about this being done and then being and not having superpowers to go get to the next country or next fight that allows it to feel a little bit more human.
Well, and Wheel of Time is more like fighting evil as opposed to fighting other humans.
Yeah.
So I think that has a big impact on it as well.
No, I agree with that.
But I think that it definitely feels different for sure.
Yeah, I liked that.
No, me too, 100%. Yeah. Also, Mimung says a lot of her books on Audible are free, so
cool.
We should go check those out.
There's a Starless standalone book. Okay, cool.
We'll have to look into that. Yeah, this book does it in the battle novel too, though, even though they are pressing it on quickly and head on to their dodge. Yeah, like, even though they're like, shit, like, we don't have time to really wait and mourn, in a sense, like, there is still time and care taken to the death that occurs.
I mean more, they spend the night thinking about it after Alba, but, like, the end of this, they're there for weeks. Right, like there's...
Oh, after this one? Yeah. And then they get in before they even leave for the city of Eloa.
One of the things that really bugged me in Wheel of Time was that everyone just speaks the same language, which I never liked, because it doesn't make any sense. And so the element of her translating for the wounded really helped this feel truly epic in scope, because it felt like different places came together for this fight. Whereas sometimes in Wheel of Time, because everyone speaks the same language, there was a weird element of, like, the size of the world felt off a little bit. Mm-hmm. And so, like, the way in which the aftermath of the battle gets into them dealing with the allies of this are not all... They can't talk to each other. The doctors can't talk to their patients. Like, there's elements of that actually do make the world feel larger and more filled in.
Yeah.
Those littlest of details feel larger and more filled in than something that is bigger in scope, but the details are a little simpler. DK Moon says, and the Forsaken came out of storage speaking the new language. That's one of those things about that series that was always really weird to me. And so there's something about there's something about that little detail of her writing letters for people from another country who are dying because she's the only one who can, that actually makes the story feel larger.
Yeah, absolutely. Official ACM asks on predictions on where Fedra goes next. La Serenissima, aka Venice, seems like a given. Yeah. I mean,
I feel like she spends some time in Eloa first.
Yeah, no, she for sure. But I definitely think that she will end up there at some point. I think that it's really going to depend on where where she can find tales about the Master of the Straits and that whole religion, I guess.
Yeah,
like
the Yeshuites.
How, yeah, where that journey takes her, which to be honest, I'm not sure. I also, I know you guys are like, this place is this place, and this place is this place. I have no idea where anything is.
Gonna spend some time looking at a map.
Yeah, I'm also not super confident that I could, fill out a map of Europe, you know what I mean? So...
You should do that, your 69 states one.
No.
I
know where Italy is.
Arzu asks, how much more or less magic will we see in the next book?
My guess would be similar levels, where it's not... I think it's not going to be super pervasive in day-to-day stuff, but there will be one or two big moments, like Master of the Straits. Because I think if you overuse the connection to the angels, it can end up feeling like it means less.
I think that we're going to find, as we go into other parts of Europe, that there's just going to be more magic because there's going to be different places it comes from. I don't think people are going to start doing magic, but I think the Angels of Terdange, the Master of the Straits, I think those things will still exist, and there's going to be the spirit, the forest spirits of this forest, which are a different thing.
Yeah. Official ACM asks, do you think which will get resolved first, Melisande or Hyacinth? And I think it has to be Melisande, because
I think it's going to be intertwined.
I have a feeling it probably will be as well, but if I had to pick one or the other, Melisande, because I think that Melisande has no care for lives, and Fedra will always have that empathy, and does not want people to die needlessly.
If Fedra has it her way, she would prioritize Melisande.
Yeah,
in order to save people. Mimong says, do you think Fedra will ever meet her parents?
I don't know.
I don't need it.
No.
Doesn't matter to me either way. Deloney's her dad, to me.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah. I think it would be fine if she did. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. It doesn't that's not what this is about to me. And I think that her not knowing them is fine, because she does it without, look at who she became without them, right?
Yeah. And I don't really need that scene of, look who I became without you.
Yeah.
I don't think Jacqueline Carey, that's her style, which is why I like it,
Yeah. Women Tark says, what do you think Melisandre's next scheme could be? I don't know. I don't know enough about fake Italy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming it's World War I. She's going to start she's going to kill the Duke de something, and it's going to bring all the allies together against the Axis, and then they're going to punish fake Germany for a decade financially, which leads to the rise of fake Hitler, and then the second trilogy is World War II.
Here's the thing. I think you can only answer that question if you know what Melisandre's goals are. And right now, her goals are not... Right now, her goal is to play the game.
Yeah.
And if Melisandre's my greatest goal in life is to be Queen of Terdange or whatever, I think I'd be able to extrapolate maybe a scheme from that. But it could be literally anything. She just wants to fuck around. I
do love that this is a world of magic, but it doesn't seem like gaining more magic is the goal of anybody.
No.
The magic is such a... I don't want the series to go the direction of, we need the thing to do the thing, I kind of like that magic is just kind of somewhat present. And magic is somewhat present, but it isn't the way in which people solve their problems. It's mostly just something that is something they deal with.
Yeah.
Fedra uses her sex powers to survive this, I guess. So I can't really say that.
Her healing skin.
Yeah, but getting more magical power, I thought was a really was not pursued, and I liked that about it.
Yeah.
It's just that, like, these people have normal human desires, and magic happens to be around them in some ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Fucking love this book.
Me too.
I'm sorry that we can't get to it right away, but we will get to it.
Yeah.
Because we love it. So we'll let you know when that's gonna be.
Yeah, we'll definitely at least read the first trilogy. I think I have been nerdy history podcast when me just like rambling through what I think happened and then chat telling me I'm wrong. That's what that would be. No, if you want a history podcast, there's great people out there who do history content. Stakiyuki, who we've met at DragonCon, great historian. I watch his videos because I am not an expert. I can only do a podcast on my opinions because I'm not actually an expert in anything. No, I like we both said, I think that this is a masterpiece. I'm so glad we read it. This has been a great experience. Thank you to everyone who's joined us for this kind of offshoot of book club, which is also book club. I don't know what we're calling it, but Kushiel's Dartman, special writing from a truly talented author, and we are really lucky to live in a world where books like this exist, man. Like, this is something that, if, you know, I don't want to get too political, but this is the kind of shit that gets banned.
Yeah.
And, like, art like this should exist. Because it makes people better. And I just, the idea that anyone would argue that this would be banned would make me so sad, because people should experience it.
Yeah.
It is special. And I'm really, really, genuinely so moved by it and so happy that I read it.
Yeah. Yeah, people demonize a perspective that isn't theirs.
Yeah,
because
100%.
because it doesn't belong to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely think that the world could use less of that. Yep.
Yeah, me too. I agree.
Yeah.
I'm also excited. 2025 was a year where we were going to do more books and not just kind of do just Cosmere. And what a fucking great way to start it, hey?
Yeah.
Our, like, year of more books.
Banger.
Like, Kushiel's Dart is a genuine banger of a beginning to a year of more books.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. All right. If you like the video, like, subscribe to the channel. If you don't, hit the dislike button. Leave mean comments down below, because the algorithm god is hungry and we must feed her. This episode, that algorithm goddess is Ysandra de la Coselle, because you were a good queen and you trusted in Fedra, and that's always the right choice.
Yeah.
In Fedra, we trust.
You got the boy.
You got the boy. You taught the black boar how to dance the gavotte.
Yeah.
And
now you
the
guys
kingdom is better for it.
can sail, no problem.
Yeah, you guys fixed the ocean.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Trade is about to go fucking crazy, man.
Like, the title of this video is, did we save the kingdom? We did save the kingdom, but we also, like, opened up a whole river. And that's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it a river?
No, it's like a channel. I don't know.
Whatever. It is a body of water that was dangerous to cross and now is less dangerous to cross.
If you want to follow us on the internet, you can. I'm at Nerdy Nightly.
I'm at Claris Polaris.
And if you're going to the Buffalo Bills game tonight, let me know. It's going to be a big one. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen dueling to see who gets to go to Arrowhead next week and face Patrick Mahomes in a game that I'm sure everyone will feel totally normal about the flags in. And no one will be weird about the flags in the game. Thank you, everyone who voted for this, made us read it. We will be back in like 12 days for Shadows of Self prologue through chapter 6. And then we will return 2 days later on Sunday for another book club with Morning Glory Milking Farm.
Hell yeah.
A book about a woman who falls in love with a minotaur she's jacking off. Spoilers, but like I haven't read it, so that's
what Nerdy thinks it's about.
I'm pretty sure that's what it's about. I watched TikTok.
Oh, well, there you go.
The only reason I know about it is because someone explained the plot in a TikTok, and I was like, that's hilarious. I have to read this book eventually. And so, yeah, 2 book clubs in 12 days from now. Sorry we won't be here next week. We are going to be on vacation. And then we will see what the schedule is after that when we post it today.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you, mods.
Thank you
Arzu.
for being here.
You're the best.
Seriously, we appreciate you.
Fucking Threk. Are any of our other mods currently here? I don't think so. It's just the 2 of them today. To our other mods, we also love you, but you're not here right now.
Yeah, you can't accept our love right now.
Obviously, no smut corner because no, you know what? No, there wasn't a lot of smut in the back half of the book.
No, not really.
She fucked Hyacinth, or in the back of this last section.
Oh, true. That's kind of it.
Her and Jocelyn are fucking up at that estate, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%. But I definitely would love for Phaedra to teach Justin all the Terdange dances.
At least a little languissement, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's got to know something. Yasandra is going to be she's a queen and she deserves to be pleasured like a queen. He's gonna have to learn.
The scene I want from this book is Sandra going to Phaedra, like, the day after the wedding, right? Phaedra's just sitting, she's reading, she's studying languages.
And Ysandra's like...
The door kicks open, and Ysandra drags Dristan into the room, and she's like, this man was not taught in the night court. Make him good at this.
Yeah, he's gonna need some work.
Give him the skills I know you know how to give him, because I need that shit.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.